Hello, everybody, and welcome to the award-winning car talk show In Wheel Time, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, Jeffrey Zeke, and I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us on this Saturday. So glad that you could ride along with us. We got a lot coming up on today's show, and we think that you'll really enjoy it. We got lots of guests lined up that we talked about in our preview, and it's going to be a great day. Welcome back from California.
I'm glad to be back. It's kind of weird. I was online. I was listening to the show, but it's kind of weird not being here listening to the show for me. And I know it's kind of weird for everybody out there listening to the show. But it's good to be back.
Well, we're glad to have you back. Mr. Mars, how are things over there in Neaterville?
Everything's going well.
Is it?
Yeah, about as well as could be expected under the circumstances.
Is it kind of tongue-in-cheek? Or?
Yeah, you know how it is. Life is busy.
But I don't want to know.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Nobody else wants to know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You want me to lie or you want me to tell you the truth?
No, I don't want to. You just go ahead and lie.
Yeah, everything's great. Wonderful.
Well, good.
It is Neaterville.
It is Neaterville.
Hey, it's good to see a little bit of rain.
I know it's kind of surprising.
You got to remember, I'm from California. Coming from California, it doesn't rain there, but it's good to see the ground is wet here. You know, you don't have to.
We did have some rain while you were gone. It looks like it's going to rain today. It was kind of a surprise. I didn't think it was going to rain today.
It's chilly.
But it's a little bit chilly. Mr. Zekin is here. And Mr. Zekin was very kind to his wife. They brought over dinner last night. We had some Los Tios to go. It was good. So we're off to a great start for this weekend.
And it's something you want to do if your restaurants aren't open and they're doing to-go, DoorDash them or go there and pick up food because we need to do everything we can to keep them in business.
Do we have Randy?
Well, we've got Randy, but I can't hear Randy.
Well, so then we don't have Randy. So I just wanted to give you a couple of things that I ran across in automotive news this week while Mr. Mars is trying to figure out. We've only had an hour and a half to figure stuff out, and we can get on the air. And
I think Randy's been there about 15 minutes.
Yeah. So a company called Gentex has formed a partnership with a company called Pay by Car Incorporated, a Boston provider of in-vehicle payment solutions. The partners use Gentex integrated toll module that operates via RFID transponder to let drivers pay for gas entirely contactless.
Oh, gosh.
The solution allows drivers to use their smartphone and toll transponder to fuel up at certain gasoline stations without using cash or a credit card.
Somebody coming up to us with a solution nobody really cares about.
Paired with a module which is factory integrated into the vehicle. Pay by Car can identify autos at participating gasoline stations. The system sends a text to the driver, who replies with the station pump number he or she is using. Pay by Car turns on the pump, registers the purchase, charges the credit card on file, and issues an email receipt.
And somewhere in there, the vehicle manufacturer takes a penny a gallon or something like that because of the integration into the vehicle.
I'm good with that. Well, you don't have to jack with anything.
You still got to get out and pump the gas. You still got to touch something to pump the gas.
Well, you do have to do that. There's a good point.
And if you just wash your hands, who cares?
I guess. But I know people that say, I sure wish we had gas station attendants because I don't want to be getting out of the car and dealing with any of that anymore.
Well, and depending on what state you live in, that's true. You got to remember, the state of Oregon, there is no self-service fuel in Oregon. There is no self-service gas stations in New Jersey either. They all have pump attendants by law. They are not allowed to do self-service in New Jersey or Oregon, which I think is the weirdest thing.
Well, I kind of like it, actually.
Well, you want to roll over, that's the opening to this thing. Ding, ding. You want to roll over, the guy with the star comes out and checks your oil and checks
with an attitude, probably these days.
Well, in Jersey, everybody has an attitude. In Jersey, forget about it
because they're ticked off because they're living there.
Well, because they can't afford to get out, can't afford to live there either. But either way,
well, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago about Cadillac offering car dealerships to get out of the Cadillac sales business.
And going EV.
Well, they either get out of Cadillac, take the moniker off of the dealership, and not do anything with Cadillac anymore, and Cadillac would pay them to get out, or they invest at least $200,000 to $300,000 in infrastructure within the dealership to get on board with their EV thinking that's coming up here in the next couple of years. Well, nearly 1 in 5 Cadillac dealers in the United States reportedly have decided to quit the brand rather than make costly upgrades to sell and service electric vehicles.
That's surprising to me.
Cadillac spokesman would not confirm how many of the brand's 880 dealers accepted the buyout offers. Dealers had until November 30th to decide to the offers, which generally range from $300,000 to more than $500,000 buyouts.
Well, cash motivates. You know, when you look at some of the rural stores, you know, you got a Cadillac dealer in, and this isn't throwing rocks at anybody. Yeah, well, I was going to say like Victoria. And
how many Cadillacs does he sell?
Well, probably not many, but how much investment does he want to make in an EV infrastructure in Victoria,
Texas?
Right. Now, Buzz, you could send your comments to us at info@inwheeltime.com because Buzz would say you could go anywhere you want on an EV, and he's done the videos for it. But, you know, thinking about even in today's financial situation, you know, I'm a small Cadillac dealer in a very rural area that doesn't see an EV market, and I can get $300,000 from General Motors or $500,000 from General Motors, sign me up. I'll take it.
Yeah.
You know, that's, you know, and GM went through this back in 07, 08, 09, as they were shutting down dealers all around the country. And here in Texas, probably lost, you know, 100 dealers, 150 dealers here in Texas.
But there were so many, it was oversaturated.
It was very much was.
You and I both know that.
You know, I remember there used to be a Chevrolet Oldsmobile Frigidaire franchise in Edna, Texas. It's all gone now. I don't even think the Chevy store's there anymore. So there was a little bit too much.
In the small towns, Cadillac is the
We need to get you a microphone, sir, if you're going to participate.
Yeah, the small towns, Cadillac is always dueled with Chevrolet.
That's Jeff Zekin talking that's off camera right now. So
our Cadillac,
why are we
the king
looking
of
at
Cadillacs.
Are we looking at him for a reason?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just checking. About 17%, or roughly 150 dealers, are taking the buyouts. GM is requiring dealers to stay with Cadillac to spend at least $200,000 on chargers, tooling, and training in order to sell the EVs being rolled out starting in 2022. Cadillac expects to sell only EVs by 2030 if it feels the market is ready.
Well,
GM recently said it would launch Cadillac's first full EV, the Lyriq, in early 22, 9 months sooner than previously planned.
the other thing you have to look at is what Cadillac's done over the last few years. You know, they moved up to New York because that's where they thought their core market was.
Already moved out.
Well, I know, but I mean, so if you're a dealer and you're watching all this stuff going on, then you have to kind of wonder where's this going to go with the EVs, particularly if you got to lay out $200K to start. Right. That's just to start.
You know, and if the incentive is $300,000 to $500,000, just that $300,000, you know, you're talking Cadillac's going to throw $50 million at eliminating points around the country. You know, don't get me going on GM's financial decisions sometimes.
So we were having some issues, so we should have Randy on the phone. We don't have the video. Seems like we can do one or the other.
Hey, Randy, what's up?
Hey, guys, I'm good. How are you? Sorry about the video. I don't know what's going on either. It's technology.
Yeah, we can do one or the other for some reason this morning.
Well, it'll work.
So talk to us about...
I can see myself on a camera.
So, Randy, Woodlands Car Club, are you a member of that, too?
I am a member of the Woodlands Car Club.
What car club are you not a member of, Randy?
Yeah, there aren't many.
The Corvette Club.
There aren't many.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, the Corvette Club.
Well, so... tell me about the Woodlands Car Club, first of all.
Do what now?
I said, tell me about the Woodlands Car Club, if you would, please, sir.
Well, the Woodlands Car Club, you know, pretty much every month, really the only event we do is the Coffee and Cars for a Cause out at the Woodlands Marketplace. But that's the first Sunday of every month, rain or shine. And this month we're doing a toy drive. So we've got the Christmas toy drive. We've got a vintage fire truck coming out tomorrow morning. And we'll collect toys for the Women's Center in Montgomery County. And those toys will be distributed, you know, throughout that center. But that event, every quarter, the Marketplace Association decides which charity in Montgomery County gets the charity donation. And so it changes quarterly. But this quarter, again, is the Women's Center. I think they've got Inspiration Ranch coming out as well. But the toy drive will be very specifically for that Women's Center.
And where are you guys going to be doing this at?
It's at Marketplace in the Woodlands, which is 9595 Six Pines Drive in the Woodlands. It's right behind the mall.
Okay. And is this going to be a come out, gather with your car, open your trunk, and deliver the toys, or is this going to be a drive-through collection point? How are you guys setting this up?
No, this is an old-fashioned cruise-in. What they do is they shut down the marketplace we get there about 6:15 in the morning, but they shut it down. We open up the gates at 6:30. You come in, you make a charity donation as you enter, and you park your cars. We can get about 150 cars out there. Now, during the Christmas toy drive every year, we actually do have people that, because this event location will fill up, we have people that cruise through and drop toys off and then just keep on going. But it's a nice little setting. It's very comfortable, very quaint, and very laid back. Everybody gets along. So it's just a bunch of people sitting out there with their coffee, enjoying their cars, enjoying their friends. And we do it all for charity.
So even if people are wanting to donate a toy but don't have a toy car to bring to it, they're welcome to bring a toy, drive through, take a peek at some of the cars that are there, and get on about the rest of their day.
Oh, that's correct. There's a parking garage right beside right behind one of the buildings. So even if they want to park and walk over and walk around, look at the cars, they can take all the time they want to do that.
Hey, Randy, real quick, speaking of that, you've got another toy drive going on that involves people being able to go online and contribute.
Well, we do, and let me explain how that works. But before we move on to that, let me mention that also tomorrow we've got the president of the Montgomery County Food Bank coming out to TWCC. And Montgomery County Automotive Enthusiasts, MCAE, we held a fall car show in October at Papa's on the Lake. We collected, it's only $1,000, but this is an amazing number to me. We collected enough money that we will donate tomorrow to the food bank. And this will be MCAE working in conjunction with the Woodlands Car Club, because the idea is we work with as many area clubs as we can to make a bigger happening in the city of Houston. But we'll be able to provide, with that $1,000, that'll provide 5,000 meals for the needy.
Wow.
And that check will be presented tomorrow. So at Christmas time, and especially with the pandemic, that's huge.
Yes, it is.
So, if anybody wants to come out and getting that in that picture, we'd love to have them in the picture with us.
And it just says a lot about the automotive community, whether it's Houston or Detroit or Dallas or the West Coast. The automotive community is very philanthropic, and they generally, all of the clubs have an association with a charity that they try and fund through their activities. So it's pretty awesome. Good job. Well done.
Oh, thank you.
What kind of cars are out there?
Pardon me?
What kind of cars are out there?
Well, that event's open to all makes and models. So if you've got something, even if you, like Ellery Andrew has that one machine that somebody built with the wing doors and stuff on it, we don't care. Bring it out.
You never know what's going to show up.
You never know what's going to show up.
He's got his own Jeff Zekin over there.
I do have.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Ellery back there?
No, that's Robert Helmer.
Oh, okay. Well,
Robert was the founder of MCAE and a few other clubs here in town.
And the fun thing about that is, if you're into European exotics, or if you're into American muscle, or you're into classic American cars, all of that kind of shows up at these events. It's not brand specific.
That's right. We've got the entire mix. You run the entire gamut. I mean, you see everything from a vintage Mustang or even something from Europe out there.
Oh, I knew you were going to say Mustang.
A couple of weeks ago, well, we have Mustangs out there, but a couple of weeks ago we had a guy showed up. He used to be a doctor in England. He's a car guy, and he showed up with Buddy Holly's funeral car that he brought out.
Yeah, well, we knew if he was from England, he wasn't a dentist.
You're right.
Ba-dum-bum.
You nailed that. It could be anywhere in Europe, right?
Oh my God!
I'm sorry. Send your comments to info@inwheeltime.com.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Address
Yeah, we're
that
in
to
trouble for that one,
Conrad.
guys. We're
Yeah.
in trouble for that one.
Address the hate mail to Conrad. That's the way that works.
So you ask about what the event we have going next weekend.
Yeah, real quick.
And this worked out really kind of cool. We worked with a church last year and pulling together a toy drive. This year, what they've done, you go online and you adopt kids. So you've got boys and girls, from 6 months old up.
Virtually.
Yeah, you've got a list of them to pick from, basically.
That's correct. On the website, you've got a list of kids that you can adopt. You just sign up under that name. It puts your name attached to that kid. They've got a list of toys that they're wishing for. And then what we decided to do in working with the church is we're going to gather at the Kroger at the corner of 99 and 59 there in New Caney about 11:30 next Sunday morning. And then at about 11:45, we're going to drive over to the church and kind of do a drive-by car show toy drop-off.
Oh, cool.
And I mean, then the church will take those toys, they'll get with the parents, they'll wrap them and make sure the children get them.
Nice.
Cool.
Well, we certainly appreciate the time you've taken to join us this morning, Randy, and
Thanks for all your hard work.
Yeah, really.
Thank you guys, man. You guys are a part of this community with us, and you do a great service for everybody. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And if we don't talk to you, you guys have a great Christmas and a safe and wonderful New Year, and we'll be in touch with you.
Okay, you guys do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Randy Weldon.
With all the car
North-
clubs in Houston that have to do
Up
with
on the north, west, east, all of them up there.
somewhat Ford-centric man.
Yeah.
He loves his Mustangs, and he's always sending us Ford stuff to post in wheel time as well.
So in the meantime, while Mr. Mars switches out with Mr. Zekin and we wait for the car of the week, the used car of the week, I did want to mention that Ford announced that they are delaying the release of the Bronco, the much-hailed and awaited Bronco, until summer. They're delaying it because of coronavirus-related supplier issues. Ford did not specify which suppliers were experiencing problems. The Bronco is being built at the automaker's Michigan assembly plant in Wayne. Ford said order banks, which were set to open next week, will now open in mid-January for reservation holders to complete their purchase. Additionally, the Sasquatch package with the manual transmission will be pushed back to the 2022 model year.
Yeah, but I also understand that the Bronco Sport, which is not it's a different version of the Bronco, but the Bronco Sport they're actually beginning deliveries of right now. So it's not the Bronco that you see with the doors and the roof off. It's more of an edge derivative of the Bronco. But yeah, they're starting to make deliveries of that right now. So
Neat.
if you want the new Bronco Sport, go to your Ford dealer. They're showing up.
So Jeffrey Zekin has made the switch.
Everybody asks if you ever follow us on Facebook. There's somebody on there that says we need more Jeff.
Yeah.
Well, we now have more Jeff.
We've got more Jeff.
And more Jeff today is reviewing the 2016 Mustang V6. Every week we have tasked Mr. Zekin to please come up with a pre-owned car of the week, because Mike and I do the new cars. So we thought, well, let's throw the used car in there.
I've got a P-51 Mustang. I've got an airplane.
Oh, cool.
Does that fit?
Does not work, but thanks for the try anyway.
That's the V12 version.
V12. Well, it is. It's a 2016 Ford Mustang. It is a coupe, or coupe, as they say.
They only make them in coupes.
Well, a coupe. Well, they make convertibles. Yeah. So they do make a coupe. They make a premium, a GT premium, a convertible, and just a plain old GT. So what we have here is the coupe, and this is a sports car, and it is a 4-seater. Notice I didn't say 4-passenger. Yeah. It is a 4-seater.
Well, that makes sense. Yes.
Exactly, not 4 passengers.
Because the person in the back needs to be a bilateral amputee.
Okay.
Because there is no real leg room in the back of a Mustang,
or seat room or butt room or anything like that. But as you'll see coming up on the interior shot, it's got that back seat like the police car we talked about with the Camaro. You just fit your butt in it.
Isn't this the current body style?
This is a 2016. Yes, they're all similar in some capacity or another.
But I think that this is the current body style.
Right. So on the exterior features, it's got the dusk sensing headlights. It has post-collision safety system, and I think that just activates all the safety lighting and things if you do get in a wreck of any tragedy that happens to the vehicle. Body moldings, front fascia, fog lamps, 17 by 7.6 wheels. You can get them on a chrome
on the six-cylinder.
On the six-cylinder, yes. You can get them in a chrome or a painted alloy, and it's a 235/55 R17 tire, which you can get them either in, the Continental, the Michelins, the Goodyears, and so on. Bridgestone is actually back with Ford. Many, many years ago they came back. So the interior highlights, we'll be moving on to that, is the child seat anchors. Now that's something that's important. If you do utilize the back seat, you've got the car seat for the little infant or small individual that you can tie it down.
Yeah, it's like the dash right there.
Right, that does look like the dash.
But the child seat anchors, it actually latches into these little loops in the back of the seat.
Exactly. And you got, according to that shot there, you've got the front airbags, you've got USB connections, you've got 6 speakers. And of course, in the 6-cylinder, it's mainly cloth. Folks don't do a lot of leather because you want to downsize it, or not downsize, the least expensive way to go.
Right.
Price-wise, heated mirrors, and you've got 6-way adjustable driver's seat.
But looking at that, that's still all Mustang.
Right. There you go. There's the back seat, and that looks like the well for your butt, in my opinion. So
if your butt's well, I'm okay too.
Whoa. 3.6 V6. It's a double overhead cam, variable timing, Conrad. You'd be impressed with that. 300 horsepower and 280 foot-pounds of torque, saving Newton meters. And, of course, the mileage, you got 17 in the city and you've got 28 on the highway. It's an average combined of about 21. And you've got things I looked into on this that we don't rarely mention, but the warranty, the basic 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on it. You got a powertrain and roadside assistance for 60/60. So that's important to know.
Well, and if you're in the used car market, and you're buying at a Ford dealership, you can get this on a certified pre-owned.
You can.
All of that improves over and above it.
Exactly. The ride and handling, you got stability control, traction control, 4-wheel ABS, you got TPMS on the tires, and you got electric power steering with fly-by-wire.
Right. Well, yeah, it's the power assist is electric, but there's still a mechanical connection to the steering system.
Right.
And I believe Ford uses a servo system for the electric assist, not a magnetic electrical assist.
Guys like me just call it fly-by-wire.
Okay.
Yeah, drive-by-wire.
Never mind.
So, in the pricing of this, Don asked for something a little bit different on this. This vehicle that we're looking at is $24,145 at 3,845 miles. It's got 3,800 miles on it.
Oh, that's no miles.
No miles at all for $24,145. Now I wanted to compare it to some of the other higher ends. So the 2016 GT Premium with 110,000 miles is $19,900. So the higher the mileage, the lower the price. Obviously.
Well, it's consistent.
Right.
Yeah.
But you get a V8.
Yeah, but you also get 100,000 miles.
Right.
So with that comes a level of maintenance expense that's going to escalate as well.
And all the abuse in that 110.
Because it's a V8.
Right. Now, the GT Premium 2016 with 31,000 miles is $29,800. And then, of course, if you get into the Shelby GT350, it's $47,800 with only 6,400 miles.
Yeah, but that's a collector car.
Yeah. And, of course, the vehicles are either Camaro-like vehicles, and then, of course, the Dodge Challenger on that.
The pony car world, and they're called pony cars because of the Mustang.
And there you have it.
Thank you, sir. Hey, if you got a comment or question, we'd love to hear your thoughts. The address is info@inwheeltime.com.
There you go.
Do we have any car shows, cruises, that sort of thing?
Oh, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. This afternoon or this morning at Twin Peaks up in the Woodlands is Troy Dixon and Houston Performance Driving. They're doing a toy drive. We've got Randy up at tomorrow morning at the Woodlands.
Get rained out.
Yeah, well, it possibly will. But, the Woodlands Car Club is going to do their toy drive in Marketplace. And then also tomorrow is Coffee and Chrome. If all is going well as far as weather-wise at
Prince's.
At Prince's in Sugarland.
At Sharpstown Golf Course.
Golf course.
Yeah.
And then there's always other stuff going on. The Kima Car Meet, 6 p.m. tonight. At 4 p.m. tonight at Euro World Motorsports, they're doing a toy drive in Tomball. Crew on Deck is doing their toy drive at Kim's Tea House tonight at 6 p.m. Tomorrow, Coffee and Donuts in Navasota. Classic Car Community on the field in Montgomery, which is 105 and 149. So there's always stuff going on, and so those are the things to go to here locally in Houston.
Okay, not that you're ever here.
Not that I'm ever here. Oh, well,
did you? By the way, did you get the Oldsmobile?
No, I was just about to say the lock cylinder in the Oldsmobile jammed up on me, and I don't know if is it the key that is wrong? And I've got two keys, and they both do the same thing. It just doesn't rotate far enough right now. So,
that's all you got to do is stick that pin in there and pull that cylinder out.
Well, it's to pull the cylinder out, but it's also a matter of I got to take the steering wheel off to replace the piece I need to replace inside of there as well. So
are you going to do that?
I can do that. I just got to get Angela's car out of the garage to do it, and she took the key with her to California.
Are you serious? You only have one key?
Well, no, we have two keys, but it's a keyless, and one of the remotes doesn't work. So she has the good remote with her, and the other remote. I can't move her car out of the garage.
That's just friggin' great. Love those kind of things. All right. As far as news is concerned, Ford Motor Company said Tuesday the Mach-E GT Performance Edition will go from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3.5 seconds.
Yikes.
Get 480 horsepower and produce 634 pound-feet of torque. The automaker is targeting a range of 235 miles with the GT Performance Edition.
That's good. That's pretty good range.
Yeah. The optional package comes with a few cosmetic upgrades, including 19-inch front brakes, an aluminum applique on the instrument panel, and a special badge on the rear of the vehicle. It's available in 8 colors. First Mustang Mach-E deliveries are expected to begin this month, although the GT and the Performance Edition won't be available until next summer. And get this. General Motors has corrected an online advertising campaign that overstated the capabilities of its Super Cruise driver assist system. This week, ads for the system, available on a growing number of Cadillac vehicles, appeared with a headline that said, Cadillac Super Cruise, experience autonomous driving. Oops. But the system...
Some attorney's head exploded.
But the system is not autonomous. It always requires a human driver who maintains responsibility for all vehicle operations. The advertisement can be found with a number of search terms and now reads, Cadillac Super Cruise, the future of driving. Cadillac spokesperson said the mix-up was inadvertent.
Yeah, and somebody in the marketing department got fired.
Big time. You know that.
So you heard the new Dodge Ram 3500 for 2021 is going to have the highest towing capacity in history. It's got a towing capacity, and this is with the diesel and the dually, of 37,100 pounds towing capacity, beating the Ford F450 that is rated at 37,000 pounds and really kind of stomping the Duramax in their 1 ton as well.
Well,
so
okay.
Ram is real proud to take the lead in that.
Well, we're hoping to talk to Mr. Jack Nerad, writer, author, editor, and radio host, and we're going to talk about some interesting subject matter coming up right after a quick break here on the In Wheel Time program. Thanks for joining us. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well,
we'll be right back if you push that button and it plays
Texas
a little music.
Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild-to-wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy a Lupi Tortilla breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, December 19th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all in one place. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a 3-hour friends and family event. The Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, December 19th, 8 to 11 a.m. at the Lupi's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too, and you're invited to join us. We'll see you there. Is your business or company looking to stand out in a crowded advertising market? Looking to reach the real auto enthusiast? Well, you found it. You're listening or watching In Wheel Time, and so are your fellow enthusiasts. The In Wheel Time Car Show now reaches 500,000, and we can put together a marketing plan that will engage them in your product, business, or service. To get the tires rolling, just shoot us an email to our marketing director, Jeff Zekin. His address is jeff@inwheeltime.com.
Hey everybody, welcome. It's the award-winning In Wheel Time Car Show. Just ahead, Jack Nerad and the most expensive cars and December deals. That's what he's going to talk about. Inside our new car showroom is the 2921 Jeep Gladiator. We'll give you an in-depth review, including the MSRP. You'll also get this week's automotive news, Conrad's Car Clinic, and the stories making auto headlines this week. Just ahead on today's In Wheel Time Car Show for Saturday, December 5th. 2020. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong, Jeff Zekin's off camera. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday. It's about ready to rain here. It's just kind of a surprise. I thought the weather was supposed to be nice.
Looks like it wants to, yeah.
Yeah, I thought the weather was supposed to be nice all weekend, which is kind of an odd deal.
Cool, but nice.
It kind of puts a damper on those Saturday coffee and car events and that sort of thing. But, oh well, c'est la vie. We've had a string of really nice weekends. So
Yes, we have.
Joining us right now is, well, let me put it this way. He's the editor of Driving Today, host of America on the Road. His latest book is The GR Factor, Unleashing the Undeniable Power of the Golden Rule. His name is Mr. Jack Nerad, writer, author, editor, radio host. I don't know how else to put everything. I mean, you just pretty much do it all, Jack.
I'm a Renaissance man, I guess, Don. What do you think?
Well, you know, it's so good to see you, Jack. I haven't talked to you in a while. You're looking good. How are things out there on the left coast?
Wild. Kind of crazy,
say the least.
Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're facing what could be a pretty strong lockdown out here for no particular reason. And, well, maybe some people say there's good reasons. I'm not so sure about that. But a lot going on out here, I would say. Through it all, I've been able to test cars, so I guess that's a good thing.
So you're all locked down and you're on fire again.
Yeah, a little of both. So
Yeah.
It's great to be locked down when the fire is coming near you, right?
Yeah.
That kind of works out well.
I saw that story, yeah. That's not a good thing.
But at least if you're test driving cars, you can get in a car if you decide to leave and leave.
Get out of Dodge really quick. Yeah, absolutely.
So, Jack, today we're going to talk about, I guess this is kind of like diametrically opposed here. We're going to talk about exotic cars, and we're going to talk about, December deals. So,
Do they go together?
Well, I was thinking that the expensive car list could be a good present, a gift list.
Yeah, for you to give me. So, Jack, which one are we going to start with? How are we going to do this, Jack? Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with the expensive cars because I've got that kind of queued up so I can talk about
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Let's do that.
With some degree of intelligence here. I was commissioned with writing a story about the most expensive cars of 2020, and it's more confusing than you would think because it's hard to know what is a production car these days. So many of the major manufacturers of really expensive cars like Bugatti and Koenigsegg and those kind of manufacturers are building one-offs. If you come to them with $15 million, they'll build you a car and they won't build another one like it. So you can buy those. And I think that's what the super rich, and there are several super rich out there, are doing. And then there are the quote unquote production cars. And, I can count some of them down because they're pretty interesting. The first one is the Bugatti Cento Dietie. It is a 1,577 horsepower car. It has a W16 engine. Its name refers to 110 in Italian. It was inspired by a car by a previous edition of Bugatti, oddly, that had nothing to do with Ettore Bugatti. But this car will cost you about $9 million. Its claimed top speed is 255 miles an hour. So, that's something to...
Where do you do that?
Yeah, I don't see that going down Interstate 10.
Yeah, I-10 between,
El Paso and San Antonio or something.
Exactly. Just get it done at night on I-10. The next one is the Koenigsegg Jesko. This is only 1,280 horsepower, but it costs less than half as much. In fact, it's only around $3 million a copy. And this is really a cool car, actually. It has a supercharged V8 engine with, among other things, the world's lightest crankshaft. So
there's something to write home about.
Yeah.
Hey, honey,
right?
Hey, guess what I've got? I got the world's lightest
$3
crankshaft.
Yeah, my crank's lighter than your crank.
Well, Koenigsegg builds some pretty exotic cars. He's always got something, and the look of them, and very highly desirable by the uber rich, but not attainable.
My question is he married?
I have no idea.
Well, anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt. My sick mind.
And interrupt all you want. There's the Lamborghini Seon Roadster, a little over $2 million. This is kind of more in the realm of cars that we have seen before. It's a mid-engine vehicle, of course, 7-speed gearbox, 6.5-liter engine with some an electric motor for torque on demand, which we're starting to love. We're starting actually to love that in production cars that are much more attainable.
Which is, to a degree, a technology that they have largely perfected in Formula One, and they are bringing it to the street. Not that Lamborghini's in Formula One, but that torque on demand of the electric powertrain, the hybrid electric powertrain is a Formula One feature.
Yeah, I mean, we're even seeing that in cars like the Toyota RAV4 Prime, the crossover. This is 774 horsepower, like I say, around $3 million, and, nice under the Christmas tree. One of the cars that I like a lot, and because it's kind of a throwback in terms of styling, a lot of these vehicles, especially the Bugatti, are not particularly good looking. If you were to take a look at a picture, you go, wow, for $9 million, that's what I get. But the Ferrari Monza FP2 is really good looking. It's especially good looking if you like the sports cars of the 50s or so. So its top speed is only 188 miles an hour. It's about $2 million. It uses the same V12 engine as the Ferrari 812 Superfast. So that's 800 horsepower, and pretty cool. And the last one I'll talk about is the Lotus Aviga.
It's the newest.
And this is 2,000 horsepower. It's all electric. It has an electric motor for each wheel. And it's going to go on sale right after the first of the year. They have been battling actually with the Williams Formula One team and their associated technical team.
And Jack, I assume with that kind of horsepower that the actual range of that car is probably only about 5 miles.
You would think so. But they're saying when you spend $2 million or $3 million on this car, I think this car is about $2 million is the list price.
Oh, it's cheap.
Yeah, they're looking at 250 miles of range.
Liars.
Not 250 miles of range at top speed, which is going to be
50 feet,
something over 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But it does have a.
Well, I'm a huge Lotus fan. I've always been a Lotus fan all the way back to the Europa, even though I couldn't fit in one. I've always been, because Lotus has always been, Colin Chapman's always been something about moderate power and lightweight, and that's his performance. That's always been his performance build, is building a lightweight vehicle. And they never had monster power, but this one with 2000's a level of monster
and
power.
of course you can't build a battery electric car and make it lightweight. This thing will weigh like 3,600 pounds or something like that. But I guess that's fairly lightweight for a 2,000 horsepower supercar.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the December deals, if you don't mind. And I say that because, on TV, all of the car commercials, you would think that every manufacturer has got December deals, and it looks that way. Is that really the case, though?
Well, it pretty much is. I mean, December used to be a dead month for car sales. People were Christmas shopping and not thinking about buying cars. But I think a lot of things have kind of come together to make December a car buying time. One is, the Big Bow Lexus commercial of 20 years ago, right? Where you have this massive
big red bow,
on the car, and if you're going to look for a major Christmas present, a car or truck is a pretty good one.
Need a big tree to put that under, but that'll work. Yeah, what's
exactly.
Lexus
Well,
December
they show
to remember.
people rushing out into the driveway, and there it is, and they kiss and embrace, and it's a wonderful thing. So it's become that kind of thing. We've seen that, and all the car companies, as you say, have some kind of deal or another. Some much more so than others. I mean, General Motors is going crazy with a thing they call employee pricing for all. That are major discounts. I mean, thousands and thousands of dollars on some of these cars. If you want to buy, say, a 2020 Chevy Tahoe, of course, there is a new 2021 that is a lot cooler. But if you want to buy a 2020, you can probably get something like $5,000 to $8,000 off list price if you walk into a Chevy dealership right now. Chrysler is doing a very similar thing with all its brands, not only Chrysler, but Jeep. And you are looking at employee pricing on Jeep where you can save about $4,000 or $5,000. Same with Dodge. That's going on. And then there's still some deferred payment plans, which kind of are a double-edged sword. I mean, it's nice to think, well, I won't have to pay that, start paying for that for 90 days or so. But then you're still going to have to pay it. So I'm not sure what the big advantage of that is. Versus low interest rate financing that a lot of car companies are doing too.
Because if the financing company makes more money, they defer the payment, but you're still paying interest for those 90 days.
That's right.
They just throw it on the end of the term.
Yeah, and you can if you don't. That can happen certainly if you don't start your payments right away or you miss your payment, and all of a sudden that accrues. I mean, people who bought a couch that way kind of know that that is the drill.
Jack, is there a website? How do you research this? Because if you're not, brand specific, and you really say, okay, I've got $40,000 I want to spend on a new car. I know that you can go on many websites. Edmunds is one that I use all the time, but there are many of them. But there needs to be a place where we can say, okay, I got $40,000 to spend. How can I spend it with all of these deals that are out there in one particular place? Kind of like,
where can I get the most bang for my buck?
Yeah, like the insurance companies are doing now. They all gather into one place and you can compare all the prices at once.
I wish there were a site like that, and it would be pretty difficult to do. And the reason is this: most of these incentives are regional. So not only do you have to do it for every vehicle in the United States, and there's 350 vehicles, and so you're looking at deals on all of those and all the variations of those. But then you're looking at all the variations of it will be different in Texas, where you guys are, than it would be here in Southern California, for example. So it's really, really difficult to do. I do research on this every month for autobytel.com, and I write stories about incentives and round that up. Those are I think good roundups, but they kind of just hint at what's out there. They give some idea of what the best deals are. We run a story every month about the best deals, but a best deal for you might not be a best deal for somebody else.
And you have to have a certain level of credit rating to earn their best deal as well.
Absolutely true. Again, the best deal for you might not be the best deal for somebody else.
And then on top of that, everybody's are timing out, and it's always got to do it by the end of the month because that's the motivation is to get you to do it by the end of the month. Well, and
that's why I research these every month because they typically end the last weekend of the month, or they extend over into the first weekend of the next month if that works out that way. Most of the deals that are out there now end on January 4th, 2021.
To get through the New Year's weekend.
Right.
Of course, which I don't know that that's such a big deal this year because there's not a lot of people going to work. A lot of people are working from home, and and everybody's kind of doing it online. So then,
it's amazing how resilient the car industry has been, given the fact that so many people are just at home.
Very much so.
The car industry has had a pretty good year. Certainly not the year it would have had without this horrible disease, coursing through the whole country. But they've done a remarkable job, and I've got to hand it to car dealers around the country. They are very, very resourceful, and they've done amazing work this year.
And have kind of changed their model about test driving cars, delivering cars, servicing cars. Everybody's had to adapt to a COVID society, and I think they've done. I'm in the car side of things in my real job, and they've done a real good job of adapting to deal with the COVID issues in the sales and service departments.
Yeah, absolutely true. Absolutely true.
What do you look forward to for 2021 in the car industry, Jack?
There's a lot of great cars. I'm gonna be driving the Mustang Mach-E. I think you just talked about it in your news segment a little earlier. Next Thursday, so I'm really excited to drive that vehicle. I just had a chance to drive the Ford Bronco Sport, which I really am not supposed to talk about the drive so much, but I can talk about the vehicle. And I think it's going to be a home run. I really think they're going to do a great job with that. And, that whole Bronco brand thing is very, very interesting. It's kind of interesting to me that the cars I'm most excited about are coming from Ford Motor Company, maybe. Certainly there's some really exciting stuff coming from some others. And, of course, I'm on the North American Car of the Year jury, and we will announce our North American Car of the Year, Truck of the Year, and Utility of the Year in mid-January. So I've been heavily involved in the testing for that and driving a lot of really interesting cars.
What do you think about the show car circuit? Because I know our Houston Auto Dealers Association new car show has been quote unquote postponed from January. They still haven't announced even if there is going to be one in 2021. What are you finding? I mean, the Detroit thing, that turned into a disaster with them moving it back. I mean, it's all just a big jumbled up mess right now.
It really is. And I'm pretty close to those people for both North American Car of the Year, where I'm actually vice president of that jury, the North American Car of the Year jury. We were looking to do our announcement of the finalists for those awards in conjunction with the Los Angeles Auto Show. We typically do it with the Los Angeles Auto Show during the show in November. We were looking to do it with them with no show because their show has been put off for this year sometime this month. And now that's off because of stay-at-home orders and other things. Our announcement is liable to be virtual in January. We typically did that at the Detroit Auto Show. And now, as you say, it's all a jumble. And they're not quite certain when things will happen. I think the latest idea for the Los Angeles Auto Show is to do a show in May. I think the Detroit Auto Show was going to do a show in June after moving it from January, and now is planning to do it in September. So it's just wild what's happening.
My gut tells me that there's not going to be anything going on until fall of 2021. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think that, concerts, any kind of public event in an enclosed atmosphere, I just don't see it happening before the fall of next year.
It's hard to know. And if you're saying that in Texas, I'm not nearly as optimistic about what could happen here in California.
Yeah, we're relatively open in Texas and have been for quite some time. Not nearly as restricted as you guys are with Governor Newsom.
Right. Well, and I have some Texas connections too. Two of my daughters went to college in Texas, one at TCU, one at SMU. One is at TCU right now. And so I have a lot. In fact, I'm going to watch the TCU game after we get off on this call.
So, all right. Go Horned Frogs.
Yeah. Exactly. I have some channel into Texas thinking, I think.
Well, Jack,
we appreciate your money.
Yeah,
yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, Jack, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And I say this to you, and I mean this every time we talk to you, is that we would like to have you on a more regular basis. So anytime that you ever have anything, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And you're always informative, and it's great to talk cars with you. You're probably one of our most knowledgeable guests. So anytime you got something, be sure and give us a ring. Shout out to me or Mike, any of us. We'd love to have you on.
Thanks.
Well, I'm excited about that, Don. I really do appreciate it. I think Mike and I are working out some kind of potential schedule where we would do maybe one shot a month or something like that. So I'd love that. That would be exciting.
Well, we love you. Thank you. Take care and stay healthy out there in California.
Same to you.
All right.
Happy holidays to all of you.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Jack Nerad, our go-to guy. He's been with us for several years, as I mentioned. I love talking to Jack because he's very knowledgeable, very articulate about the car business, and makes it easy for everybody to understand. All right, time now for this hour's car review. Mr. Mars got a chance to drive the 2921 Jeep Gladiator.
Yes, sir, I did. And this is the Gladiator Rubicon. So we were up there on the top end of the off-road side of it. And if you haven't really heard about what the Gladiator is, this is the mid-size pickup truck offering from Jeep. It's 2 years old, comes in a few different levels. Base Sport is the entry level, and then you can step up to the Overland where you're going to find your electric windows and things like that. Then you get up to the Rubicon where we are, where you have the off-road capability. I mean, it is by design, by name, it is designed to go places that other vehicles won't go. Now, when you're looking at it, obviously you're going to see the resemblance to the Jeep Wrangler from the cab area forward, and you're going to see the 5-foot pickup bed on the back of it. So it's got the 7-slot Jeep grill up front, got the fold-down windshield, we got LED lighting and headlamps and fog lights and tail lights. A lot of these are very specific to the Rubicon, including the body color 3-piece hardtop. It's an option that you can get that we had on this vehicle. We had the roll-up tonneau cover, had the body color fender flares, and it's all part of the package that goes together to put this vehicle together to make it look really off-road, because that's what it's for. Now, interestingly, you'll see that the one that we had the 17-inch aluminum wheels. Now, these were rolling on some Dana 44 axles with 14 gears. Now, I point that out because in this day and age of 20s and 22s, that may seem a little strange, but it's got 33-inch all-terrain tires on it. Now, part of that's part of the off-road capability, because the sidewall of the tire adds to the ability to go off-road, gives it a little more flexibility. So don't worry about it having 17s and think you need 20s. It's also got the Fox shocks, the rock rails, got more skid plates under the fuel tank, the transmission, the transfer case, the front bumper. There's skid plates everywhere. And really cool thing is the tailgate's got a 3-position tailgate, obviously closed, but it will lower down to a 45-degree angle instead of going all the way open. And what that allows you to do, because of the way they built the inside of the bed with the fender wells, you can put an 8-foot piece of wood in there, or a 2x4 or something like that, because it'll extend out. That bed gives it that extension out, holding it up at a little bit of an angle, which is really cool way to do that with a 5-foot bed. Now, the other thing it's got, I'm trying to get all this in because there's just so much. The bed side rail, the sides of the bed are shorter than you might find, because a lot of trucks nowadays I can't reach into them.
Right.
But this one I can reach over and into it. Now, because of that, then they've got a cargo management system on the inside that'll kind of help alleviate any concerns about something being too tall and falling out. So it all works out really well. And then when you get into the interior, once you're inside this cab area, it's very much Wranglerish. All the things that you can find on a Wrangler are going to fit.
Is that a word, Wranglerish? I like it.
That's a good word.
Thank you.
It's kind of like Irish, or whatever.
Yeah, I just made that up.
Ish, just dash-ish.
Theoretically.
Theoretically, yeah. So we happen to have the black leather trim seats, and the front seats were heated, and the rear seats in this particular vehicle, we actually had an armrest with some under-seat storage, but we had the optional locking storage down under there. You're going to see that we had the 8.4-inch screen that you can see right here, where it's a touch screen, where you can the nav system. We had the Alpine premium audio system, the nav system. It's all right there, and the Uconnect system. This newest generation of Uconnect is really sharp. I mean, it is responsive. It's easy to find stuff. I tried to figure out a way to upgrade mine off my 2015. Can't do it, but this thing would be the way to go if you get the opportunity. And this is also very much Jeep, again, off-road, so it has the washable interior. So if you get out and get muddy, then you can pull the floor pads up, and you can wash it out, pull the drain plugs, and let it go. This is a shot of the rear seat. Seat folds down, makes some flat cargo. You can see the center console there. And again, underneath that is some storage that is lockable.
So has Jeep put a lot of what they call Easter eggs inside the Gladiator as well?
They're everywhere on the windshield, every place that you can look and find. They're there on the wheels, the tires. It's kind of a Jeep has become known for it, and it's across the whole lineup. It's what they're doing this with. Now, up under the hood, again, this was the Rubicon. This was a rather unique vehicle. We had the 3.0-liter V6 diesel as compared to the 3.6 gas. Now, the difference in it is obviously it's a diesel, 442 pound-feet of torque at 1,400 RPM is the important number. 8-speed automatic. I actually had a chance to drive this one at a Jeep event one time. It made me into what I would consider a rock crawler. Obviously, there were people helping to guide like they were any time other, but the torque and the capability of that engine offset my inexperience and let me do a lot of things that I never knew I could do because of that engine. Now, the other thing that's great about this, if you package it all right, this vehicle came with the optional tow package and everything, this will tow 7,650 pounds.
Wow.
Now, that's a heck of a load behind a mid-sized pickup truck. Haul rating, it'll hold 1,600 pounds up inside that 5-foot bed. So you can put your motorcycles in there, your dirt bikes, sheetrock, whatever you want. Now, the EPA says on this vehicle with a diesel in it, in the city, you should be looking for about 21, out on the highway 27, combined 24. Now, the week that I had it, and I did get to put some time out on the highway, I got 23 for the average on the week.
Oh, that's pretty good because you're a lead foot.
Well, it's diesel, and you have a tendency to drive it differently. I mean, just because it's a Jeep plus the other. So you just drive it differently. And out on the highway, I will say, this is the Rubicon. Fox shocks, all the things that you want to go off-roading, so you got to pay the price on the highway. It's a little firm. Could be actually be considered a little on the rough side. The older I get, the rougher I would think it would get. But it's much better driving than previous generations of the Jeep because of the longer wheelbase that they've gone to. And you get out, that wandering on the highway is not there. You can drive this thing at speeds that you shouldn't be driving legally in the state of Texas, and you'll be just fine. Now, if you're looking at something to compare it to, you're going to have a problem with that because the off-road
lives in a class by itself.
Yes, it does. And so if you start looking at what people have got, Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro, it's going to start at a little over $44,000. Colorado, the Chevy Colorado ZR2, it actually has a diesel option. It's going to be up around $45,100 to start. Nissan Frontier is out there with the Pro 4X, but it starts at $37,000, but they're redoing that Frontier and bringing it up to the
40s,
to the rest of the world. Yeah, it's a little old school. But you can get into a base Gladiator, just a Gladiator, for $33,565. Now, you step up to the Rubicon. The Rubicon base is $43,875. Now, that's with a lot of features, the lifted, the tires, wheels. We had some options on top of that, including some bigger tires and some different suspension components, the hard top. The diesel is a $4,000 option. The 8-speed automatic is a $2,000 option.
So your prices tested was?
$67,130 for a Jeep Rubicon that will take you places that you didn't even know you wanted to go yet.
The bank.
Exactly.
Thank you, sir. Time now to check on the car calendar and the race card. I think the race card is pretty much raced out.
Well, the only couple of things going on is Formula One is still racing, and they have this weekend is the Bahrain International Formula One event, and then next weekend is the final, and that's the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. But I'll tell you, did you look at I think you were the one who posted the video of the F1 crash last week with Romain Grosjean.
Yeah.
That he went through the Armco barrier, underneath a piece of it, and the car split in half, and he walked away. A real testament to the technology, the safety technology they put in those vehicles.
Hey, the In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. The In Wheel Time Car Show continues after this quick break.
Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild-to-wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy a Lupi Tortilla breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, December 19th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all in one place. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a 3-hour friends and family event. The Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, December 19th, 8 to 11 a.m. at the Lupi's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too, and you're invited to join us. We'll see you there. Is your business or company looking to stand out in a crowded advertising market? Looking to reach the real auto enthusiast? Well, you found it. You're listening or watching In Wheel Time, and so are your fellow enthusiasts. The In Wheel Time Car Show now reaches 500,000, and we can put together a marketing plan that will engage them in your product, business, or service. To get the tires rolling, just shoot us an email to our marketing director, Jeff Zekin. His address is jeff@inwheeltime.com.
Hello, everybody. This is the award-winning In Wheel Time Car Show, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, Jeff Zekin, I'm Don Armstrong, coming to you from Studio A in Houston, Texas. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday. I hope the weather is nice where you are. A new report by Copilot looking at the United States that experienced the largest increase in road fatalities during holidays. Amid the pandemic, many Americans opting to travel by car this holiday season, while most states report the biggest uptick in road fatalities during the 4th of July holiday. Driving-related deaths across the country increased more than 30% during holidays in general each year. In Texas, fatal crashes increased by 35.4% during holidays. In fact, 6.6 of all fatal crashes in Texas occurred during holidays. Out of all U.S. states, Texas experiences the 19th largest increase in fatal crashes during holidays. Around Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, the rate of fatal car accidents increases by over 10%. In addition to busier roads, holiday season is also associated with increased drunk driving. Data from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration indicates that drunk driving is particularly prevalent during the New Year's holiday, as 42% of fatal crashes during this holiday period involve a driver over the legal limit. By comparison, 30% of fatal crashes during non-holiday periods involve drunk drivers. So I just wanted to mention that. So please don't drink and drive. You know, and these days it's there's so many options. Call Uber or Lyft or whoever the case may be.
Yeah. You know, and it's just smart to go ahead and find somebody to drive you as opposed to getting yourself in trouble behind the wheel, because they're out looking for you, you know, and also in today's world, you know, somebody's going to see that you're having troubles driving and they're going to call you in and they're going to come and get you. So there's no reason to get behind the wheel.
Yeah, they're going to call you on it.
Yeah.
Well, it's time now to go to our interview this hour, and he is the head of the Jeep brand, and his name is Mr. Jim Morrison. And no, he is not the head of a rock group, as much as everybody would like.
He's
but
a
I know
superstar.
He's probably heard that all of his life. And look at him up there.
He's already grinning.
With the grin on his face. Jim, good morning. It's great to see you, brother. Oh, Lord. Yeah.
Well, we were doing good for a minute.
Yeah.
Well,
So
you're kind of locked up there.
yeah, he's all locked up. So we're going to wait and reestablish contact with Jim. But we're going to talk to Jim about the Wrangler 392. And I don't know whether you guys have heard about the 392 or not. But basically, the 392 is a Hemi.
Well, that's the hot rod Hemi, too.
It's a hot rod Hemi that is non-turbocharged, so it's naturally aspirated 392. And I was going to tell Jim that my favorite engine, don't get me wrong, I love the Red Eye, I love the Hellcat, I love all of that, but the 392 strikes a note with me. That it is my go-to. One is you can get the thing in a manual transmission, which I like, which you can't with the
Hellcat.
The Hellcat or the Red Eye. There's that, but there's something about that naturally aspirated motor that just sings that sweet note.
It brings back the memories of the old 426 Hemi because it's all torque, it's big cubic inches, and it's a Hemi. I mean, ultimately, anybody with a performance mind an automotive performance mind understands what Hemi means to the performance industry. And they've been using that 392 in the Challengers, in the Chargers and stuff, in their SRT 8s and all of those for some time. And now finally for Jeep to bring it back, or to bring it into the Wrangler, and it's got all the full factory warranty. It's a step above what a lot of aftermarket shops are doing that are adding Hemis to the vehicle. Now you have a Hemi that's going to be factory warranted at 450 horsepower inside of a Jeep Wrangler. Oh my gosh!
I want to take you for a ride. You'll be screaming like a little girl over there.
Happily. I'll be happily. It'd be like being on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I'd be thrilled to death.
When was the last time they put a V8 in a Jeep Wrangler? 70s? Was it the 70s? I don't know. Jim would know. But anyway, we're trying to reestablish contact with him. I can look it up here. But I have to tell you that there is some sort of appeal to, for me anyway, for the Jeep Wrangler to have a V8 in it, much less a 392 V8.
Yeah.
But
their hot rod V8 without putting the supercharger on it.
Right. And so clearly you don't need all of that to have an off-road experience, although it is nice. I would imagine that the 392, to me, would be more of an on-the-road kind of experience for the most part,
Well, it's still going to give you the off-road capabilities because it's going to have so much torque down low, which is what you want when you're going off-road.
And I think we got Jim back.
We do?
Yep, he's out tooling around in his Jeep.
No doubt. All right, well let's go to Jim. Jim, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I see that you've tethered it to the car, and now we can see you and hear you.
Yeah. I think. Sorry about that. I was trying to get you a better vantage point, and I live on a dirt road, so it was a dirt road or all the cool decorations behind me on the house. So sorry, I was going for the Christmas effect. Sorry.
Well, no. There's no reason to apologize. So, Jim, we were just talking about the 392 and the V8 history in the Wrangler. When was the last time, before this time, that Jeep put a V8 in a Wrangler?
It was in the about 30 years ago in the CJ.
It was in the CJ. Okay.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun, and one of the most common requests that we've had. I mean, customers have asked us to put a diesel in the Wrangler. They asked us to bring back the Gladiator, and they asked us to put a V8 in the Wrangler. So, happy to listen to our customers, and I have to say it's an unbelievable rig now with the 392. I'm sitting in mine, so I'll fire it up. I don't know if you can hear it, but
did you have the boys in the shop put cutouts on it?
No, there's a nice little. I flip this around here, but there's a button on the dash, so it's active exhaust. So it's a normal sounding Wrangler. You can kind of sneak around your suburb or whatever, and then watch this. You push the and then you instantly have the sound.
Oh, that's the button I'll push every time I'm underneath an interstate highway bridge.
Exactly.
And whack the throttle 2 or 3 times just to shake everybody's car around me.
Yeah, it just makes you smile. I've been driving it for a couple of weeks now, and since we introduced it, and it just, everybody needs to smile more these days. And I can tell you, I find myself to find an excuse just to go for a rip down the road. but in proper Wrangler form, it's been getting dirty too. So you can see that I was out wheeling last weekend with my son, and we had the power roof open, and we got dirt and mud and sand in the back seat. So we need to spend a little bit of time cleaning it out. But
it's a Jeep.
That 470 torque, man, it's incredible. We were climbing 45-degree angle hills in the sand, and it's just got so much torque. It's just amazing. And we make the lockers work in high range now as well.
Oh, wow.
So you can
Okay.
some high range or high speed maneuvering up hills, before where the vehicle would be a little bit tied up at the top, have the extra torque. This thing is amazing. It's got all the torque. You can use it in 4 high as well. So 470 pound-feet of torque in a Wrangler is absolutely impressive.
Jim, does it come with a manual or automatic or both?
They're all automatics and they're all 4 doors. The 392s.
Okay. Is there a reason that it's not available in the short wheelbase 2-door?
Yeah, it would probably make it flip over. It's got so much torque.
Too much juice.
I got you.
Are you thinking about maybe even the Gladiator?
We'll see how this goes. I mean, it's the Gladiator is doing really well with the diesel.
Yeah,
and got 442 pound-feet of torque, not quite as much as the 470, but it's got a little with a little more of the utilitarian for the guys that are working it, or they're putting 35s or 37s. The diesel is what we've got in the Gladiator for now. So we'll see how it goes, but right now we're happy with the diesel.
And didn't you guys have to doesn't it get kind of a special hood and some extra ventilation to get some of that engine heat out from underneath, so you're bringing more cold air in as well?
Yeah, I can show you at risk of actually losing signal, but yeah, it does. It's got a really cool separator too, because we needed to be able to have it breathe. All right, so it's got direct air intake here in this new special 392 hood, and it also it's a cool separator. So the boys know that I've always been pushing the limits with water and Jeeps in Texas. Remember that year we had one with water over the roof. Anyway, it won that year, so that was
it was worth it, right?
Cool. Yeah, but if you look up here, the hydro guide is what we call it, but there's a separator up underneath there, and it separates the air and the water and any debris.
Oh wow!
So it pulls all of the clean air right down here into the air induction system of the 392. So it's actually a pretty cool setup because it needed to breathe, obviously, to get 470 horsepower and 470 torque out of this 392 cubic inch engine. So
kind of fills up under the hood, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, it does. We had to fill almost every inch of space under the hood, and the other thing that we had to do in order to fit it in there is we had to lift the Jeep. So as you know, for me, that's never bad. We gave it another inch of lift when we did that too. So all 392s will be lifted as well.
How much engineering did you have to put into this as far as suspension is concerned to be able to handle all that horsepower?
Yeah, we did it quite a bit, and the people that did this with us are really, really good. So you'll notice they're Fox shocks. We've got gold springs and gold shocks that are specially tuned, here for the 392, and it gives you a really cool ride. It also has beadlock capable wheels on the BFG KO2. So nice. All the accents are bronze, even right down to the detail on the shocks, that have been specially tuned, here for this 392.
So you've done way, way more than just stuff a big engine in there. It's the engine, the suspension, the body, all of those pieces come together to make this quite a special truck.
Yeah, for sure. And then I know you guys have a dog. I have a cat. I have a special cat. Meet Elliot. He's climbing up the. Anyway, so that was kind of fun. So the cat comes extra.
So your Jeep Wrangler will go any place and it'll take your cat with you.
Yeah, that's funny.
So
Elliot.
Jim, when we're talking about the suspension, I wanted to ask you, when you integrate this 392 in there, clearly you have to make some changes, adjustments, some additions to the computer stability control system as well, do you not?
Yes. Yeah, the guys did a really good job with managing the torque. It has a full-time or auto transfer case that helps us manage the torque, because it's a lot of torque to put down, and the guys did that. So it's basically four-wheel drive all the time, and with that we had to obviously make the adjustments with the chassis electronics and the electronic stability control in order to really make it a complete system.
Is that a cat? Wait, I think I saw the
Elliot.
cat.
He's back.
Elliot's
Elliot.
the friendly
Elliot.
cat.
Yeah.
Elliot loves this Jeep. He's got some footprints in the Jeep. I don't know what he's been up to, but
Smart cat.
yeah.
So what's availability going to be like on the 392?
Well, we started into production in Q1, and we're being a little bit coy with the volumes, because I don't want the competition to know.
There is no competition.
Yeah, really, there's not, comparatively speaking.
There really isn't. And it's a lot of fun, but we're going to do what we can to fill our customer sold orders really fast and get these things in the marketplace to make more people smile. So it's going to be a lot of fun with the 392.
Well, I'm hoping I'm going to get the first drive on the 392 when it gets in the Texas press fleet.
Yeah, I think I can't wait to get back, driving with you guys, and I think, the smiles per hour that you'll have with this vehicle are just unbelievable. So I can't wait to get you in this vehicle and make you smile and really, give you something that nobody else can in the marketplace. Open air freedom, all the power and torque you could ever imagine. And don't forget, we've got the electric Wrangler coming as well next year, which is we're calling 4xe. It's going to have the same amount of torque that this vehicle has, but it's going to do it in a completely, different way. All electric, quiet, and seamless operation for a for a hybrid. So it's something else that we're bringing to market next year with the Wrangler. So it's going to be a busy year.
Jim, before we end our conversation, I'd be not doing my due diligence if I didn't ask you, how are things going with the FCA PSA merger?
It's coming together, and very logical choice in so many ways, and great people. I haven't been a lot to do with it, but the exposure that I have had so far has been very, very positive. And interestingly enough, my very first vehicle, I had back in the 80s was a Peugeot 504, hand me down from my grandmother. So I know a little bit about the Peugeot stuff. So
well, the other thing that you've got going for you is that you have a pretty good working relationship with Mike Manley, who's kind of leading the charge on the FCA side. Yeah,
for sure. I've worked for Mike now since 2010, and he understands Jeep. He's formed Jeep. Man, he's taken Jeep from selling 300,000 units to 1.3 million globally, and looking for more of that same sort of stuff here in the future. Well,
we don't get obviously a lot of news about the FCA merger, and really, we're more the user end kind of guys down here. But that we're pulling for you guys, and we know that this is going to be a great thing, making you guys the number 4 car manufacturer on the globe. I mean, it's a huge deal, and I don't think that a lot of people really understand the gravity of it all.
Yeah, with the efficiencies, that we're looking to gain, by really being a mega volume manufacturer, will sure be good. And the collection of brands that we have is just amazing. So really looking forward to next year with all of that stuff. And then on the Jeep side, like I talked about launching, the 392 that we're just talking about, launching the 4xe Wrangler. We got a new Grand Cherokee and this new thing called Grand Wagoneer we're bringing to market. So there'll be no sleeping in the Jeep camp here next year for sure.
Well, I have to tell you that, I'll remind you anyway, that the last time that we spoke, that you said, well, I'm going to have some really big news here in the next couple of weeks. And boom, there it was, the 392. So you've already kind of delved into what's coming up. You got any other little tidbits for us before we say goodbye?
Yeah, just think Grand Wagoneer. My biggest challenge is trying to figure out what's going to be SUV at Texas next year. We got a new Grand Cherokee. We got a new cat.
It's climbing your shoulders there.
Elliot's climbing out. And we got a new Grand Wagoneer. So, it's going to be hard. We may need 2 SUVs of Texas here next year.
But Texas is big enough to handle it.
Yeah, we can do it.
Jim, it's always great to talk to you. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your Saturday, and go enjoy the cat, and we'll talk at you later.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to the horses. The cat can look after himself.
All right, brother. Well, it's great to see you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Stay safe and good luck with the merger. We'll talk to you soon.
Merry Christmas to you guys, too.
Take care. Thanks.
Jim Morrison with Jeep. He's the head of the Jeep brand.
Cool
Always
interview.
good to talk to him. Yeah, very, very good. Hey, you can always get a hold of us through Facebook, our website, or email us at info@inwheeltime.com. Time now for Conrad's Car Clinic. And today, from what I understand, we're going to start talking about brake fluid.
Brake fluid. I get a lot of questions from technicians and such about the different brake fluids that are out there and the interchangeability of them. And really, to simplify it, there's lots of specifications on brake fluid, but let's talk about the 4 basics. There's a DOT3 fluid, which is factory filled. DOT stands for Department of Transportation, and Department of Transportation says DOT3 fluid can't boil below 401 degrees. So brake fluid boiling point is a lot of what drives the .3, .4, .5, .5.1. So to understand the differences between the 3 of them, .3, .4, and .5.1 all start life as a similar liquid, a glycerin-based product. Now, .5 is a silicon-based brake fluid. It's really only going to be used on super high-performance race cars and stuff, and that's probably going to have a boiling point somewhere north of 600 degrees, where .3 is going to be a 400-degree boiling point. .4 is going to be about a 450-degree boiling point, and then at a .5.1 is going to be somewhere up in the 500-degree boiling point. And what's important to understand is the boiling point of brake fluid is at what point does the fluid begin to bubble? Because you use brake fluid because if you go back to Physics 101, you can't compress a liquid. So, when you push on one side, the brakes apply on the other side, from the brake pedal to the brake calipers and wheel cylinders. You don't get any loss of performance as you step on the brake pedal. But when you add bubbles in it and air pockets or steam pockets, and the steam being caused by some liquid that can be, or some water that can be in the brake fluid, that steam or those air pockets, because the brake fluid boils, is what causes that sponginess to your brake pedal. And that sponginess to your brake pedal affects your brake performance and can cause longer stopping distances. One of the other points about brake fluid is it's hygroscopic. It's always wanting to absorb moisture. So anytime you open that brake master cylinder cap, moisture gets in there just from the humidity in the air. As the brake pistons move back and forth inside the caliper, inside the wheel cylinders, they get microscopic amount of moisture into the brake fluid, and that moisture is where you get small amounts of moisture create steam, because you're talking about brake fluid that, let's say you're talking about on the front rotors. You know, you're driving a pickup truck 70, 75 miles an hour down the highway. You pull off to the side and exit and come down to the light, and you're sitting there waiting at the light. You know, those brake rotors may be 600, 700, 800 degrees, and if you're carrying much weight, you know, going above 800 and 900 degrees, and that big cast iron brake rotor is maybe an inch away from about 4 or 5 ounces of brake fluid inside the caliper. So transferring that heat into that fluid happens quite often. And that's why the higher boiling point brake fluids are real important. .3 is the factory fill on probably 97% of the vehicles in the industry. Even the high-end Corvettes are factory filled with .3 brake fluid. .4 brake fluid is totally interchangeable with .3 brake fluid. I always recommend a .4 brake fluid because you want that little bit of a safety factor of a higher boiling point brake fluid. And then the .5.1, which is even a little bit more a higher performance brake fluid with a higher boiling point above that. You know, it never hurts to have a higher quality fluid inside your system, but you have to change your brake fluid with regularity. That regularity is, I'm going to tell you, you know, the manufacturers are going to say every 2 to 3 years, and I really wouldn't go beyond 3 years without changing your brake fluid. You've got some manufacturers tell you to change the brake fluid every 20,000 miles, some every 30, some every 3 years.
I have a question for you, sir.
Sure.
So I have a Corvette, 2001 Corvette. What fluid did it come with?
.3.
So what would you recommend that I'm going to have it serviced here soon? What would you recommend that I put in it?
Well, I put BG's Ultra Dry .4 brake fluid in it, but I always recommend people to put a good quality .4 brake fluid.
.4.
Yeah, don't put the cheap stuff in it. You can always get cheap fluid, but when you get cheap fluid, you get cheap fluid, regardless of if it's engine oil, transmission fluid, brake fluid. You know, I'm not a big believer in just buying because of price. You want to buy because of quality. Now, .4 fluid requires a higher quality because it's a higher boiling point by specification from the Department of Transportation. I would highly recommend you put a .4 fluid in it because I tell people to put .4 fluid in everything. It's totally interchangeable. The price difference is a couple of dollars. It's not a big range price difference to go to the 3. Now, when you go to the .5.1, the price range spreads, but just a .4 fluid. And the same brake flush process is the same regardless of what fluid that you use. But if you're going to switch to .5, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars because you have to change all the seals and you're using a silicon-based fluid. I tell people don't waste your money on .5, and we'll talk a little bit more about it next week.
All right. Thank you, sir. A couple of stories I wanted to get in before we close out this portion of the show. Hyundai is recalling 129,000 U.S. vehicles for an engine issue that can increase the risk of a thermal event. The recall covers some 2015 to 2016 Velosters, 2012 Santa Fe, 2011 to 2013 Sonata Hybrid, and the 16 Sonata Hybrid. Connecting rod bearings inside the engine may wear prematurely, which over time can result in engine damage.
Catastrophic engine failure.
Oh, my God. You've got to be kidding me. You never hear about that anymore. Volkswagen is terminating its motorsport activities at its namesake car division and reassigning employees to work on its growing line of electric vehicles. Motorsport unit employing 169 people will be folded into the parent company. The division is already working on a prototype electric race car called the IDR and will now help develop the brand's growing range of electric models. Well, that's it for this hour of the In Wheel Time Car Show. We've got another segment coming right up after this quick break, so stay with us.
Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy a Lupi Tortilla breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, December 19th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all in one place. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a 3-hour friends and family event. The Lupe Tortilla Mexican restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupe founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, December 19th, 8 to 11 a.m. at the Lupe's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too, and you're invited to join us. We'll see you there. Is your business or company looking to stand out in a crowded advertising market? Looking to reach the real auto enthusiast? Well, you found it. You're listening or watching In Wheel Time, and so are your fellow enthusiasts. The In Wheel Time Car Show now reaches 500,000, and we can put together a marketing plan that will engage them in your product, business, or service. To get the tires rolling, just shoot us an email to our marketing director, Jeff Zekin. His address is jeff@inwheeltime.com. Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild to wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com.
You're on the award-winning In Wheel Time Car Show. Coming up, a visit with John Rawson, Pro-Am, Auto, and Racing at COTA in the World Racing League. Inside our new car showroom is the Ford Expedition. We'll give you an in-depth review. Plus, we'll have This Week in Automotive History and the stories making auto news headlines. All just ahead on today's In Wheel Time Car Show for Saturday, December 5th, 2020. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, and Jeff Zekin sitting off camera over there. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us today. And joining us right now is Mr. John Rawson. He is with Pro-Am Automotive. Hey, John, how's it going?
Hi, good morning. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. Yes, we can.
Fantastic.
Obviously, you're there at COTA. What's going on out there on the track?
Right. Well, this weekend is the WRL, World Race League U.S. Endurance Championship. It's the season finale event for our league, and it's an 8-hour endurance race today and an 8-hour endurance race tomorrow.
Well, and are you driving any of the cars?
Yes, I'm here with my team. Our name is Enduro Works, and we have a 97 BMW M3 that we compete in the, it's called the GP1 class. It's like the second level class above or just below the fastest cars, called GTO. And my teammates are on the track right now. We started at 9 o'clock this morning, and we will go until 5 p.m., hopefully.
How many driver changes do you have?
There are 4 of us that drive our car, so we're going to each get a turn. I'm probably going to go in about 2 hours or so from now, and then I'll be in the car for probably 2 hours, 2.5 hours. We'll just kind of see how the strategy works out.
And how many pit stops will you have to make in your 2-hour stint?
Oh, during my stint, I'll probably only come in once for a splash of fuel, maybe take on an extra jug or 2, which is about 6 or 12 gallons of fuel.
Wow.
We really let that the strategy of the race dictate kind of those stops. We don't really have a specific set time. Our car will go about an hour and a half on a tank of fuel. So in an 8-hour race, it kind of throws a wrench in the strategy as opposed to just being able to pit every 2 hours for driver change and gas. We have to stop every hour and a half at least. So we try to take advantages of full course yellows or anything like that. If it pops up, we dart into the pits for a fresh tank of gas.
And how's the power feel in the cold weather?
The car's running great. We had practice and qualifying yesterday. We had a little trouble yesterday. We had contact with another vehicle, so we had to spend a little time patching things back together. But we're doing pretty solid today. I think we're about 13th or 14th in our class, which we're moving up slowly. The competition this weekend is tremendous. There are some seriously fast cars here, up and down the grid. There's about 90 96 cars were registered. I think about 90 took the green flag this morning.
Oh my gosh!
So it's a busy place.
So do they do that with a staggered class start, or do they just put everybody in a line and you're qualified?
We do a staggered start. I'm sorry. They put the two fastest classes, which also have the most cars in them, start ahead of the slower cars in a staggered start. So about 50 cars in the first group and about 40 in the second group this morning when we started. Yeah.
And with you guys being in the middle group, you know, you've really got to be conscious of the faster group that's passing you, but then you've also got to be conscious of the slower group that you're passing. So that multi-class racing, you got to pay as much attention to what's in front of you as to what's behind you.
Yeah, you're always watching your mirrors because there are some seriously fast cars and there's some professional drivers here this weekend that are kind of keeping their skills up, I guess. I've seen several cars that have got some NASCAR drivers in them. A couple of IMSA drivers are here.
Oh wow!
Don't ask me to name names. I can't think of them all at the moment, but yeah, it's pretty neat. This series has grown tremendously. In the 5 or 6 years that we've been doing it, and it's pretty amazing to see.
How much
the competition level is huge.
How much does it cost to field a car for this event this weekend?
How much you got? I can tell you that. It costs to run one of these top cars. I don't know what it costs. It costs a fortune. For our car, it's about $4,500 to $5,000 for the weekend, including entry and car prep and everything. As long as we don't have any major damage. Yeah, and we split it, between the four of us. So per person, it works out to, $1,500 to $2,000 a person.
And that includes tires.
Yeah, tires. Honestly, we're gonna hopefully make the weekend on one or maybe two sets of tires.
Oh wow, okay.
So, we have to use a 200 tread wear tire. Most of the major companies make a track tire that's that rated now. But they do last a pretty long time, especially on a smooth track like COTA.
And the 200 tread wear is by rule.
Yes. Well, actually, it's 180 or higher. So,
okay.
But all the manufacturers have kind of settled on this 200 tread wear rating as their endurance performance tire. Hankook, which I think is the series sponsor, makes a nice set of tires for this, the RS4. We're running Dunlops and also some Bridgestone RE71Rs, a bunch of different kinds of tires out there.
Let's talk about the car for a minute. What year did you say it was?
Okay. Our car is an older 97 BMW M3. And running the motor that it came with.
And I was just going to ask, so what kind of modifications can you make in your class to the engine and the suspension and the car itself?
So what's nice about WRL is the rules are fairly simple and straightforward on all of that. It's basically a horsepower to weight ratio system. So we have to have a current dyno sheet for the car. And then in order to make the minimum weight for our class, there's a multiplier in there. But anyway, we're allowed to do whatever we want to the motor, but if we make too much horsepower, it's going to bump us up into the next class. So our car has some basic mods that you do to a BMW motor. It's got some cams and intake, a nice header and exhaust system on it. It makes about 240 rear wheel horsepower, which is a little bit of a bump over what it came with stock. But not crazy. It has to last, for an endurance race. So we don't want to tweak it too much.
So with your horsepower level, do you have to ballast the car, or does your horsepower level kind of meet your car's weight?
It meets us pretty close. Actually, I weighed the car Thursday morning before we came up here, and we are only about 50 pounds overweight. So other mods count against that, like we have a wing on the back and we have a splitter on the front. So aero mods make you have to weigh a little bit more. They also, if you upgrade your brakes to racing brake, ABS and stuff like that, you have to add a little more weight. But we pretty much have found that, quite frankly, all the factory BMW stuff is really pretty reliable. So we have the brakes off of a newer model BMW 135i, which came with factory Brembos from BMW. We use those brakes, and they seem to be phenomenal. Here's a broken Aston Martin. Here, let me swing behind you.
Yeah, we always want to show the broke cars when they're not your brand, right?
Right. So, but yeah, there's all kinds. There's a bunch of Porsche Cayman GT4s and Corvettes and Aston Martins here today. It's just crazy. So it's really a lot of fun, and it's a big challenge.
When I bring my 2001 Corvette up there to race with you guys, do I have to have a roll bar in it?
Yeah, you're gonna have to do a lot of work to a stock street car to make it work around here. But you could do the HPDE, the driver ed track days. Those are a lot of fun, and we actually had one of those yesterday during practice and qualifying. We alternated back and forth between race cars on track practicing and the HPDE guys out there going fast in their street cars. So it was a lot of fun yesterday too.
So how do I get involved in the HPDE street cars?
Pay money and show up.
Yeah, pay money and show up. Yeah, just sign up.
But that's all there is to it. Well,
I mean that's part of the event.
Yeah, it's kind of, yes, it's part of the event. They added it, I guess, a year or two ago to the Fridays on our events. Well, typically our events were only Saturday and Sunday, and it was just racing. We just showed up, pulled the car out of the trailer and went and raced. There was no practice or anything. But I think due to the level of people and competition and cars that are showing up now, we rent the tracks for Fridays as well. So Fridays are always practice qualifying and HPDE to go along with that on Fridays.
Well, that makes sense.
Who runs the race, John?
What do you mean? Who officiates it?
Yeah, who runs it? Who keeps everything? Who keeps the clock ticking?
So the WRL has a staff of people that do all the timing and scoring and race director, race control, and that sort of stuff. Here at COTA, there are a lot of COTA employees operating some of the facilities here at the track. Obviously, with the COVID stuff going on, we're all socially distanced and wearing masks. That's why I'm alone in a media room that I found that I was unlocked. So I'm kind of out of the noise so I can talk to you guys. But they're running the event pretty well. But WRL has a staff of, I don't know, probably 15 or 20 people that go to almost all the races to help keep things running. So.
And what other tracks does WRL visit around the country?
So you can go all over the country to race, except for the West Coast. There's really no races over on the West Coast, but they race at Road America. We raced at Daytona, which is where I called you guys from last time, back in June.
Right.
We raced at Barber, Motorsport. We rode Atlanta. VIR is a big race, and they just announced for next year, 2021, they're going to have a 24-hour race at Sebring. So that is going to be a big deal.
That's going to tear up some cars.
Yes, it will.
Are you going?
I don't know if we're going yet. We've not really discussed it as a team yet, but that conversation will happen pretty soon, because this is the last race of our season, like I said. And next season doesn't really get kicked off until either late January or early February. There's a race at the racetrack in New Orleans. It's called NOLA.
Right.
And so that may be our next event if we go there. We haven't figured out our schedule for next season.
I want to go back and visit the 2001 Corvette entry of Don Armstrong.
Okay.
And
right.
You said that I'd have to do a lot of modifications to my street car. Well, what kind of modifications? Besides a roll bar, I got that.
Right. So you'll have to do a roll bar, racing seat, harness, fire system. You're definitely going to want to upgrade the brakes. I heard Conrad talking about brake fluid right before the break, whatever, and I was like, yeah, you'll need the best brake fluid you can get to run these type of deals. Bigger brake pads. And, man, a lot of talent. It's going to take a lot of talent to keep going.
So he's going to have to hire a driver.
Yeah. I know a couple guys, so if you need a team to help you out, I'll help you out.
probably the best way for people who want to get out to COTA and get on track is going to be HPDE, because it gives Don an opportunity to get out there, get on track, and that comes with an experienced driver co-riding with you.
Yeah, I think all the instructors that would be in those events are either race drivers themselves or extremely experienced, track drivers. So yeah, if you're a complete newbie at that, they're going to make you take an instructor along with you, at least for the first, half a day or so at least, before they turn you loose in your own car, because and to
me,
it's a
that would be
challenge.
a great thing to do on that track. I mean, I was on that track once, and I mean, they just said, "Here's the car, have at it." And
wow,
yeah, and it was an experience, and they didn't let me do that a second time.
Right,
so
no,
I think
no
having
doubt.
somebody with you would make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different groups that do those type of events here and down at MSR Houston, south of town. So there's always ways to get involved in that end of the sport. There's a lot of different groups that put together these track days that are all over the country. So wherever you really want to go drive, just figure out when you can go and go.
Wow, it sounds like a hoot. We need to put together an in-wheel time HPDE Saturday event.
Yeah,
right.
We'll use Don's Corvette,
and we can all go out and drive it. Let
There you
Don
go.
pay for the tires, because I imagine a half a day at the track with street tires aren't going to last very long.
No, probably not. You want to make sure you have at least a set to drive home on too. So you got to make sure.
So we need to bring a trailer for tires.
That's the only problem with HPDEs is you got to make sure you can drive home at the end of the day.
John, you're such a doggy downer. I just,
Doggy downer.
I mean, I was kind of excited about the fact that, well, here's something for Don Armstrong to do. Oh no, Don Armstrong can't do that. Yeah,
Yes, he can.
No.
Yeah, you can. And look, see the cars going behind him now? They've all got wings. We can put a wing on your Corvette.
Yeah.
That'll help it. That'll make it easier to push.
You can bring the car to the shop. We'll get it ready for you.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's the answer.
the answer.
Track prep.
That's right. We do that too.
Well, I was just trying to bring it home so everybody would have an idea of what it would take. Not that I would do that to my car.
Well, we're not going to do it.
We'd be happy to help you.
Yeah. We're not going to do it to my truck. It won't have the same effect.
Yeah, well, might as well just go over there and push it off the cliff.
I could
That'd
do it
have
to
the same result.
I could do it to my van.
Yeah. So, John, how are things over at Pro-Am?
Things are good. We're staying pretty busy, despite all the pandemic business. But we're getting ready for Christmas. We've got a few nice things ready to go. So
yeah, John's going to join us in a week or two, and we're going to talk about some of the gifts you can get.
Christmas gifts you can get at Pro-Am.
That's what I was kind of alluding
I'll
to.
try to be at the store that day, and we can do a little walk around if you want. I don't know if that'll work for you all or not. But.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We love that. So what do you have to look forward to today other than your turn behind the car, the wheel? What are you going to do after that, after you win your class?
Well, if we win the class today, I'm gonna pop a bottle of champagne, and probably that's be it. But when we finish today, we will just get the car ready for tomorrow. Check the brakes, probably replace the brake pads if we need to, and check the tires, and hopefully just put more gas in and get ready for Sunday. That's the nice thing about these cars is they're pretty solid, and unless you have a real major issue like something fail or break or something or get into an accident or something like that, you just get it ready for the next day and keep going. That's why I don't know if y'all can see or not, but the field out here is probably 70% BMWs and then 25% Miatas. And then after that, it's all kind of a random dispersion of different cars, some Porsches and a couple of Corvettes out here and stuff. But man, these BMWs are really pretty reliable in this kind of event.
It's interesting.
So that's what we're driving.
It's surprising and it's not surprising about the BMW.
Well, it's they've learned by experience what vehicle is going to be able to take an endurance race without a big cost investment in doing it and give them the reliability that they want. You got to find that balance.
It's not like the drag strip where you can rebuild an engine in between rounds. I mean, I guess you could rebuild an engine overnight if you wanted to, but you'd be there all night doing it.
No, you wouldn't want to.
Right. Yeah, we used to swap motors every once in a while when we had to, but in our old car was a Nissan, and it was we could change a motor about 2.5 hours on that car. But the BMW, our car, the way we are now, we're just doing this for a lot of fun, and so if we blow a motor or something on Saturday, we're going home. We're not going to mess with.
Put it on the trailer.
Well, it looks like a lot of fun, and to me, it sounds like a lot of fun because I just love hearing them scream down that long front straight.
It's kind of loud in between these two grandstands with the echo. So I can't imagine what it's like here in Formula One with those cars screaming down there.
Oh, I want to imagine it one day.
Yeah.
I want to be there for F1 one year. Yeah. Haven't made it yet. Day.
I've been once, but we sat over on the Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Okay. My phone is blinking out. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, anyway, it's a lot of fun here. I'm having a good time. Thanks for having me in the show.
Well, John, it's great to talk to you. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll let you get back to racing up there at Circuit of the Americas, and we'll check back in with you for our Christmas show.
All right. Sounds good. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, sir.
Be safe.
It's always good to talk to him. He's another friend of the show, one of our go-to guys, and it's kind of
we want to be him.
We want to be him.
I want to be him. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He kind of he's kind of our, alter ego, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
Live through
it's nice to have the connection with people who do race for sport, do race for fun, and then, I'll even say do race for work because of the stuff that Richard does with SCCA, because that's kind of a job for him as well.
Couple of things I wanted to say is that Candace Thackeray, going through radiation, breast cancer and all that. We'd like to say hello to her. She always watches the show.
Yes, she does.
And a great friend of the show. And just know that we love you and we're thinking about you, and get well soon. Also, wanted to mention our good friend George Skelton, who I guess is online with us still.
He always joins us, and if you're ever on our Facebook page, George is a commentator. He's a part of the show, because he's always got some fun commentary on the Facebook.
There's no doubt about it. Anyway, George sent me an email this week, and he's sending us a little Christmas gift from Perini Ranch, mesquite smoked peppered tenderloin. So we'll have that next Saturday. And George, thank you very much, and thanks for being a part of the show. And
very much so.
Yeah, we really appreciate your participation, if you will. All right, time now for this hour's car review: the 2020 Ford Expedition. It's been a while since I had Fords, and so I'm going through a little run of Fords right now. This week is the Expedition. The available trim levels for the Expedition include the XLT, the Limited, the King Ranch, the Platinum, and then two body styles, the regular or the Max. This is the regular body style King Ranch 4x2. What size class? It's the standard SUV. It is 17.5 feet long.
Oh, my gosh.
17?
17. And I did the math. Yeah, I thought, how big is this thing? So I did the math, and I'm thinking, oh, my God, it's 17.5 feet long. Seats up to 7 passengers. Exterior changes. Well, it was all new for the 2018 model year. Exterior features include good-looking, straightforward, canted grille, straight body lines down this thing, big King Ranch logos on the front fenders and the rear tailgate. It also has larger 22-inch wheels with adaptive suspension on this King Ranch edition. What I liked, appealing conservative design and fold-down side steps. What could use improvement? Does anyone use roof racks anymore?
I don't.
Every once in a while on the interstate, I'll see somebody will have something.
That's
up there.
rare.
Yeah. It is.
I mean,
you can tell it's vacationers.
Is it really worth to have a roof rack on a car anymore? Anyway, just a question. Interior highlights include the plush King Ranch embroidered logo on leather, everything inside. Knob shifter on the center console, as opposed to the
column
stock
shifter.
Yeah, this one has the knob on the center console. Passive phone charger. Sync 3 infotainment system works very well. Cargo trunk room. Well, third row folded down, flat. Tons of room back there. And if you want more room than that, then you get the Max edition. What I liked, the high comfort level of look at that thing. It looks like Grandpa's office interior.
Yeah.
What could use improvement? The electric, I had to find something wrong with it. The electric seating folding panel inside the cargo area is a bit confusing to use. That was the note that I made.
Okay.
Okay. Just saying. 3.5-liter twin turbocharged V6. You're familiar with this engine.
Yeah, very much so.
375 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque through a 10-speed automatic transmission.
Keep the oil changed. And when that light goes on and it says cam phaser issue, get it fixed immediately.
Tow rating up to 9,300 pounds with the towing package.
Jeez.
6,600 towing capacity without the towing package. Mileage, 17 city, 23 highway for a combined of 19, which really may sound bad, but it's really not bad considering the size of this thing. And it weighs, oh my gosh, it weighs a ton. So this twin turbo V6, Ford's got it down pretty well. Mm-hmm. I got 19 miles per gallon over 286 miles.
Well, that's
not
pretty
too bad.
good.
That is pretty good.
Big truck, 17.5 foot long.
What I liked about it, plenty of power from this V6. I didn't tow anything with it, but, you know, one of the things that people say, oh, it's just got a V6 in it. Well, let me tell you something. Drive one, yeah. That horsepower rating, 375 horsepower, you rarely get that out of a regular V8.
Well, and the torque rating is there as well because, you know, like I said, my van's got that same motor in it. I carry a lot of weight in that van, and I hammer down.
What could use improvement? Absolutely nothing. It's a great engine-transmission combination. Mm-hmm. That 10-speed was developed by Ford and General Motors
joint
together.
venture.
And the interesting thing is once you put it into drive, then on the column, the gear changer
indicator,
yeah, it shows up. And there it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right there. I thought that was pretty
10,
cool.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 when you're slowing down.
So you know where you are. Ride and handling. What I liked about it, smooth ride for the long wheelbase and the adaptive shocks. Base trim price is $72,895. Price is tested, $74,885. Base model price, if you just want to get into an Expedition, they start at $48,990, but
you ain't going to find one for $48,990
nowhere.
Yeah, the salesperson that sells that one's going to get fired because he sold the price leader for the ad.
Competitors to this vehicle, the GMC Yukon starts at $53,945. The Toyota Land Cruiser, a 2008 design, starts at $85,415. Are you kidding me?
Yowzers.
What? Why? And the Lincoln Navigator, $76,185. And that is my review of the 2020 Ford Expedition. I really did like it. Thank you, Ford, for letting me borrow it. All right.
You're welcome.
Do we have anything on the national events calendar?
Sure. You know, there's still some national events going on, and some national events are going to go on as a virtual event. So, you know, Central Florida Automobile Show is supposed to be going on in Orlando, and they haven't canceled it or gone virtual with it.
Orlando.
Cars for Charities Rod and Custom Show in Wichita, Kansas is going to be January 15th through the 17th.
In the middle of winter, in the middle of
Wichita, Kansas, right? So I guess that's the one with the snow plow on the front. NADA, which is National Automobile Dealers Show, which is a huge, massive show every year. That's going to be a virtual show. It's going to be online. And so virtually it's going to be on in February the 9th through the 11th. Darryl Starbirds, remember that name?
Yes.
And where is his museum? Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Darryl Starbirds, they do a huge show every year in Tulsa, and as of right now, it's still on the schedule for Friday the 19th through the 21st of February in Tulsa, Oklahoma. My head says snow.
That's
Tulsa.
Ice. There's at least ice.
Yeah, there's a
Even
possibility of being cold and wet. So, and then the Miami International Boat Show in Key Biscayne. They just had the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. That was a virtual show I watched on what is it? NBC Sports. NBC Sports. And then there's, you know, right now, and I don't know if it's on or not, the Austin Auto Show in April is still on the schedule.
That ain't going to happen.
No, I don't think so either.
All right. Thank you, sir. Hey, thanks for joining us for today's In Wheel Time Car Show. The part of the show that you're going to really enjoy is coming up next. Stay with us.
Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy a Lupi Tortilla breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, December 19th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all in one place. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a 3-hour friends and family event. The Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, December 19th, 8 to 11 a.m. at the Lupi's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too, and you're invited to join us. We'll see you there. Is your business or company looking to stand out in a crowded advertising market? Looking to reach the real auto enthusiast? Well, you found it. You're listening or watching In Wheel Time, and so are your fellow enthusiasts. The In Wheel Time Car Show now reaches 500,000, and we can put together a marketing plan that will engage them in your product, business, or service. To get the tires rolling, just shoot us an email to our marketing director, Jeff Zekin. His address is jeff@inwheeltime.com. Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild-to-wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com.
This is the award-winning car talk show In Wheel Time, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Today, coming to you from the confines of Studio A in Houston, Texas, USA. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars and King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. Jeff Zekin's in the corner where he needs to be. So glad that you could join us today. We've got a great interview coming up if we can get him on, and we're going to get to that here in just a second. By the way, I wanted to remind everybody that if you've not listened to our podcasts, please do so. And we have an array of ways that you can join us on our podcasts. And I was going to dig out that list if I can find the list. I know that I have it here somewhere. But I did want to mention that. I can't find it. Why is that?
Well, while you're looking, Honda is now introducing their 11th generation Civic for 2021. So they're coming out with some new vehicles and some new rides. Mercedes-Benz E-Class was named Motor Trend's Car of the Year. I thought that was. I'm just looking for filler while you're looking for what. Oh no,
I found what I need to do.
Then shut up and let you go.
No, not at all. I mean, you're part of this thing. I just wanted to let everybody know that the show streams on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. And we got a couple of other ones. Amazon, Mars.
Who else?
Mars.
Amazon,
I'm sorry.
Amazon
I'm talking to the doctor here.
Okay. Amazon, and we got another
Amazon
one.
Music, Pandora.
Pandora. Those are the two I haven't.
That's the two new ones we've added.
Okay.
We'll write them in there for you, Don.
All right, please do, yeah, because you know me. If it's not written down, it ain't going to happen. Do we have the doc?
Yes, we do.
Yes, sir, we do.
Well, I've been looking forward to this. Matter of fact, I talked to Conrad about this before the show even started this morning. Dr. Manka earned his Ph.D. at University of California, San Francisco, in the lab where lifelong brain plasticity was discovered. He leads a global team of more than 400 brain scientists engaged in designing, testing, refining, and validating the computerized brain exercises found in the Brain HQ app from Posit Science, where he serves as the CEO. Well, Doctor, it's great to have you with us. Thank you so much. Thanks for getting up out there on the left coast to join us this morning. We really appreciate it.
I'll apologize in advance. Thanks for reminding me that you guys are out here working hard on a Saturday. You'll be happy to know I wasn't sleeping in. My daughter has a robotics competition today.
Oh, cool.
So I had driven her and her robot out to someone's yard to have their competition today, and then was reminded by you that we were also chatting. So thank you.
Well, thank you. So the story is there are more than 44 million drivers, 44 million drivers over the age of 65. And I'd hate to admit it, but I am in that category. Second only to newly licensed drivers in crash rates, and drivers age 75 and older have the highest death rate due to crashes. And so I know that you've got a lot of science going on currently, but you have also discovered that education classes don't necessarily help when it comes to trying to lower this crash rate among older adults. So where do we go? What do we do?
How do we get better?
How do we get better? Help us.
We get better. Yeah, the first step to getting better is to understand what's going on. You can't fix a problem unless you've diagnosed it. And as car guys, you probably know that better than just about anyone. And so, hey, as a scientist, you can look at this and say, hey, what happens? Why is it that as we get older, crash risks and crash rates go up? And, it's not because people forgot how to drive, right? I don't think there's too many people out there in their 60s or in their 70s who are thinking, I just don't remember how to use my turn signals anymore. Or, hey, how does that whole highway merge thing again? That's not really what's going on. In fact, older drivers probably have more experience and wisdom around driving than younger drivers do. And if you've ever driven with a teenager, I'm sure you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
But something does happen as we get older. And it turns out that what science shows us, and in fact how our brain processes information, and thanks to some fantastic work done by some colleagues of mine at universities, Drs. Carleen Ball and Dan Ronker and Jerry Edwards, what they sorted out over the past 20 years is that as we assess, what we see gets narrower. And they describe it that as we get older, on the average, our vision becomes like looking through a soda straw. We're no longer noticing things in our peripheral vision very quickly and accurately. So think about when you're driving, right? You might be typically looking at the car ahead of you, right? Maybe it's going to put on its brakes. Maybe it's going to turn. You got to pay attention, right? But if you don't notice things that are in your peripheral vision quickly and accurately, you're going to be at higher risk because maybe a ball going to roll onto the street while you're driving through your suburban neighborhood, or maybe you're going to be at an intersection and you need to notice that someone's about to jump a stop sign. And that's what's happening, is that brain information processing, particularly in our visual system, gets slower and less accurate. And so we just don't notice as many things going on in the world around us. And that's what leads people to end up in riskier situations, even though they know how to drive.
So what is it that we can do as older adults to help improve that
tunnel vision?
Yeah, the tunnel vision, the soda straw effect.
Yep, that's right. So it turns out that these same people who diagnosed the problem came up with a really novel form of brain training that actually can help just about anyone improve the speed and accuracy of their visual system and help them see over a wider field of view. So you're not looking through a soda straw, you're maybe looking through a wine barrel or something nice and helpful like that.
Yeah.
So they built a computerized brain training exercise, and we've worked with them to bring these out into the world. And the way these brain exercises work is that you're trained to split your attention and notice things in your peripheral vision. So the way these exercises work is you do them on a computer, and you're typically looking at your screen, and you're asked to look at the center of your screen, and you have to notice, you have to tell the difference between two things that appear on your screen that are pretty hard to tell the difference between. Like, let's say a little car and a little truck, and they appear very quickly. So you really have to pay attention to the center of your screen. In your peripheral vision, like a road sign or something, focused on the center, but you have to retain enough of your attention that you can see in your peripheral vision. So you can train on a task like this. And if they're not doing too well, you can make it slower, so it finds exactly the right level of challenge for you. And then you can make it difficult in all kinds of crazy ways, right? You can lead to a lot of clutter and distractions in your peripheral vision, so it's hard to see what's going on out there. And then by training on this over a course of about 10 hours, over about 2 months, you can make people's brain information processing much, much better.
Is this all on Brain HQ?
Yeah, it is all on Brain HQ. So Brain HQ is a platform for brain training that we developed at Posit Science. And then when we heard about these fantastic results from these university-based researchers showing that they had also developed a way to improve brain function and vision this way, we worked with them to bring those exercise over onto Brain HQ.
And is there a fee to gain access to this information?
Well, anyone can sign up and try it for free. If anyone wants to try it, they can just go to World Wide Web, www.brainhq.com. And if you register, you'll get a free exercise per day just to sort of see if you like it and if it's for you. And then to get full access, including the driving training course, which includes those exercises I was just talking about, that's meant to be pretty inexpensive. It's about $8 a month when you subscribe on an annual basis.
Yeah.
And then actually we work with about 250 libraries across the country where they make it available at no cost, just like checking out an electronic library book. So if you use your library's electronic information services, you might check with them to see if they have Brain HQ available as well.
I want to delve into the science behind this and how you discovered, first of all, that us older folks have this issue.
Yeah, there's two threads of science that kind of came together, like a braid, I suppose. One thread of science is it just tells you the value of basic research that the National Institutes of Health fund. And, I know every year there's some weird jokes out there around, hey, why are they funding this crazy research or that crazy research? But, some of it really does turn up aces over time. So, back in the 80s, there were scientists who, weren't really thinking about aging and weren't really thinking about driving. They were just thinking around, hey, how does attention work in the brain? How does the brain split its attention between two different things? And they developed this divided attention test, they called it back then, which kind of worked like this. You had to see something in the center of your vision and notice something in your peripheral vision. And, they were scientists. They built the test. They measured people. Some people were good. Some people were bad. And, usually when scientists do that, they test all their friends and all the students in their lab at first. But then they did something super interesting, which is they tested a bunch of older people as well, or people in their 60s and 70s. I don't even really want to say older because I'm in that range myself these days. But, that was kind of innovative because they had to go out and recruit some other people. And what they saw was that although there was a lot of variability, some people were still excellent, some people were bad. On the average, as people got older, their abilities on this task got worse. And that was the first breakthrough to say, wow, this isn't something that, people stay good at their entire life. It's something we can measure and we can see they get worse. And that led to an explosion of research where they tested people, for example, and showed that, hey, if you're worse at this task, kind of regardless of your age, you're more likely to crash over the next 5 years, which was a huge breakthrough. Because, as you may know, if you go to the DMV and take a vision test, that vision test doesn't really actually predict that much about whether you're going to crash or not. It's something the DMV likes to do. Everyone feels good. But as a scientist, its predictive value is not that great.
Yeah.
So what these researchers showed was that this test of divided attention was, in fact, a really accurate predictor of crash risk. And that led to the question of, well, can we make people better at it? If this is what seems like it influences crash risk, what if you got better? And so that led to this second stream of research, which is that, hey, in the old days, people thought that the brain was kind of like a computer chip, right? It was a bunch of wires in your head and they carried electricity and it processed information. And then frankly, like everyone who's had a computer, it just wears out over time and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. In our world, we can get a new computer when we want one, but we cannot get a new brain when we want one.
Like when you store lots of data in your computer, sometimes you lose it. You can't go back and retrieve it easily. So is that what you're saying? Your second line of study has figured out how to reconnect your brain to?
That's exactly right. You said it perfectly. So, what everyone knows these days is, in fact, the brain is not like a computer. And every time we say the brain is like a computer, it gives us the wrong idea about how the brain works. The brain is actually, I know this is going to amaze you guys, but it's a part of your body. And what I mean by that is, hey, it's a biological organ, just like everything else, just like your liver, just like your stomach, just like your muscles. And what that means is it's constantly adapting and changing itself in response to what we ask it to do. And if we ask it to do, if when we retire, what we ask our brain to do is catch up on a lot of I Love Lucy episodes. Well, our brain's going to kind of rewire itself and optimize itself for sitting on the couch and watching TV. Now, that's not a very helpful brain, as it turns out.
But you know how to say Vitamita Vegemint.
There will be a few things you are the world's expert at. There's no doubt about it.
And that's
when
one
they're
of
looking
them,
for the Wikipedia editor for I Love Lucy, you're the guy. But if we ask our brain to do something to rewire itself in a helpful direction, if we ask our brain to, work on becoming faster and more accurate, well, then we're going to, rebuild those brain connections. So this revolution was called the brain plasticity revolution, because scientists got to have a weird name for everything, I guess. And what it taught us was, hey, the brain is constantly rewiring, and that's in every neuroscience textbook. So those two things came together. Here's a way we can measure whether someone has good or bad brain information processing. We know it's related to auto crash risk. What if we developed an exercise based on this idea of brain plasticity, based on this idea of rewiring how the brain works? Could we improve that measure of visual speed and attention? And it turned out the answer was absolutely yes. You can make people much better at that. And it doesn't even take that long, about 10 hours of training over the course of 2 months.
Wow.
And then when those researchers looked after people had done that training, they actually saw 50% reduction in at-fault crash risks. And that's probably because people were more aware of things in their peripheral vision. You mentioned at the beginning of our chat, that, hey, older adults, not only are they at higher crash risk, we know, but they also get into more dangerous crashes, right? They're injured more.
Yep.
So forth. It turns out that older adults are around 10 times as likely to have an intersection crash as a younger adult. That means they come into the intersection and they don't notice something in their peripheral vision and they get T-boned. Yep. So from a brain perspective, why is that happening? Well, I think you probably know now, right? They're in that soda straw vision and they just don't see that a truck is about to jump a stop sign or even just come through. So by making their brains faster and better this way, what that science showed is they reduced at-fault crashes, like going into an intersection at the wrong time, by about 50. The science has come together out of something that was probably pretty obscure when it was first invented.
Right.
So, Doctor, what are we going to, how much time does it take to do this exercise every day?
Yeah, so the studies have done it in a couple different ways, right? So some of the studies have been, hey, do it twice a week for an hour a day. Some of the studies have been doing, do it 4 or 5 times a week for maybe 20 or 30 minutes. But, it's a little bit like aerobic exercise, right? If your doctor tells you to get some exercise, you're probably hearing you need to go out and walk or, be on the treadmill or something for, maybe 90 to 120 minutes a week. And that's what we're usually aiming for in these brain training studies as well. So 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week and aim for, maybe 2 hours of total brain training or a bit more than that per week.
Sounds great.
That is enough, honestly, to rewire your brain.
Brain HQ. And there's other stuff on there, too, I noticed when I was poking around yesterday.
Yeah, no, we've done a ton of research. There's more than 24 brain training exercises on there, and they cover everything from vision to hearing to processing speed, attention, memory. And actually, over 100 published papers on brain training works, improves cognitive function.
Well, we've posted Brain HQ up on our Facebook page, and we'll tell people to put in-wheel time in the promotion line, and that way you know how much traffic you get from us.
We look forward to it. But the thing, the reason we founded Posit Science and we work with these scientists is, when I joined the company, it was founded by my PhD advisor, Mike Mersick. And what he said was, Henry, we've helped a lot of rats and we've helped a lot of monkeys get better brains in the lab. It's about time to help some people. And that's kind of what gets us.
And those in-wheel time people down in Houston need all the help that they can get.
So can Brain HQ help people with electric vehicle range anxiety? Probably not.
I don't know if you heard all of that.
Oh.
Doctor, can this help with my range anxiety in my electric vehicle?
In all seriousness, there are some studies showing that this kind of brain training improves brain resilience and as a result lowers certain measures of anxiety. But range anxiety is pretty specific. So I think there we're just looking for the geniuses at Tesla to build us some better batteries and take care of that problem.
Dr. Henry, it is great to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Again, the website is Brain HQ. And let's keep in touch and let's chat again sometime soon.
I'd love to do it. It's fun talking with you folks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Henry Monka, CEO of Posit and Brain HQ. Hey, you got something ugly or nice to say about our car show? Well, we want to hear all you have to say about it. Shoot us an email, info@inwheeltime.com. Time now for This Week in Auto History. And I know that you have lots of sheets of paper there, and one of them has auto history on it.
Yeah, well, in 1902, the first working V8 engine was patented. Did you realize that?
No, I did not.
Neither did I. I just thought that was really pretty cool information. And it was actually patented by, oh gosh, I'm going to butcher this poor guy's
Mr.
name.
V8?
No, a French engine designer, Leon Marie Joseph Clement Lavoisier. I actually practiced Lavoisier, and I know I butchered it.
He sounds like, never mind.
But this is his
like
V8
some sort
design.
Of gynecologist or something.
This is his design right here, picture of it, and it was actually developed for airplanes. And you look at that, there's no cylinder head to it. He created the cylinder with the head all together, right, kind of like an old Offenhauser engine. And then in 1913, Ford Motor Company introduced the continuous moving assembly line. And Ford's innovation lowered the amount of time it took to build a Ford Model T from 12 hours to 2 hours and 30 minutes, which is kind of why they built 15 million of them when they built Model T. So it really helped the efficiency of Ford's production line to sell more cars at a lower price than their competitors. You got to remember, back in the day, a Model T was, $800, $600, $800. They really weren't very expensive by comparison. And then in 1915, John Hertz, I don't think it's Hertz of Hertz Rental, founded the original yellow cab taxi company service in Chicago.
That's not it.
No, that's the Model T. So the next picture up will be, and it's a black and white picture, so I can't show you the yellow cab. But yellow cab became... Oh, boy. We butchered that one. So that's on this day, Ford's first production B-24 Liberator bomber rolled off the assembly line in 1942 at Ford's Willow Run assembly plant. And Ford, over the 3 years of producing these B-24 Liberators, made over 8,500 of those bombers, and pretty much used in the European theater. And then you'll see a picture. The next, hopefully, we'll see.
You don't know that.
Let's flip to the next picture.
Not now.
So that's one in the air, and quite a scary thing for the Axis as they were flying over, dropping everything on them, and definitely one of the planes that helped win World War II. And let's see what's next before I start talking about it. In 1960, this week, was the first International Scout all-terrain vehicle rolled off the assembly line at International Harvester's Fort Wayne, Indiana assembly plant. So this was out, 5 years before the Mustang, 4 years before the Bronco was out. The Scout was out 4 years before the Bronco was out. So, and back then it was just a little four-cylinder, but it was four-wheel drive, pretty functional farm truck.
I wonder how much that would be worth today.
Oh, probably, I would assume quite a bit.
Yeah, they're pretty expensive. I've looked for a couple of them down at the beach.
And then let's see what picture pops up next, since we've gotten them a little bit out of sequence. Okay, so in 1971, General Motors recalled 6,700,000 vehicles for a motor mount failure, and at the time, it was the largest voluntary safety recall in automotive history. Go ahead and let it roll, Jeff. In automotive history, and this is that pretty standard motor mount. Well, the rubber would break in the middle, so they recalled them. And then in 2015, Takata said, "Hold my beer and watch this." after what Takata's now gone 20 million plus.
Yeah.
In 1979, the last Pacer,
God, what an
AMC
ugly car.
Pacer, rolled off the assembly line, and I thought the wagon was truly one of the ugliest vehicles ever produced. But beside the point. In 1996, Volkswagen executive Jose Ignacio Lopez resigned from Volkswagen under charges of industrial espionage as he left General Motors and brought 3 senior executives and lots of secrets with him over to Volkswagen. That's this week in automotive history.
Thank you. All right. Couple of.
Did you ever own a Pacer?
No, I did not. Anita Martini did, though. And I always made fun of her car.
With a name like Anita Martini, and you're making fun of her car?
Matter of fact, the Martini is still a big family down in Galveston.
Are they?
So don't be a wise guy. You drive through Galveston. We'll tell them what your truck looks like.
My bad.
Yes, Anita Martini. I worked with her for many, many years. She died of brain cancer, but she was a sports lady and the first woman allowed in a professional locker room.
I remember the name. I didn't realize that was her call to fame.
Yes, and she drove that ugly car. Whew. Amazon Web Services and BlackBerry announced Tuesday a joint data platform that could guide automakers and third-party developers in personalizing and improving cloud-connected vehicles. You know what that means? That means that Big Brother is watching everything that you drive.
Yes, and listening to everything you say.
Amazon Web Services, or AWS, and BlackBerry said in a statement that they were creating a scalable, cloud-connected software platform coined BlackBerry Ivy to address challenges with automotive data access, collection, and management.
So they're just going to mail me a speeding ticket.
Ivy's development will take place under a multi-year global agreement. The Intelligent Vehicle Data Platform will allow automakers to provide a consistent and secure way to read vehicle sensor data, normalize it, whatever that means, and create actionable insights from that data, both locally in the vehicle and in the cloud.
Mail me a ticket.
Exactly.
Well, you got to remember, GM's OnStar, they read data while you're driving down the highway.
When I read that, I thought, well, there we go. That's
like
the end of that.
Poison ivy.
Pretty much. Tesla will be added to the Standard & Poor's 500 Index in one shot on December 21st, a move that will ripple through the entire market as money managers adjust their portfolios to make room for shares of the $538 billion company. The EV maker stands to become the 7th biggest company in S&P 500 at its current market value, falling between Berkshire Hathaway and Visa. The stock, which closed at a record high on Friday, is up about 578% this year. Tesla's market capitalization is larger than any other company had at its debut in the S&P 500. Berkshire Hathaway previously held that record. It was worth about $127 billion when it was included in the index back in 2010.
I should have bought more.
No kidding.
I should have bought. Well, you heard all 3 General Motors full-size SUVs in 2021 are going to offer the 3-liter turbocharged Duramax diesel. So the Tahoe, Yukon, and Escalade will all offer the little diesel.
Which, by the way, I think is interesting, and I should have printed out the story, but I didn't. But the story basically said it was a German story. That German diesel sales, now this is, the pinnacle of diesels come from Germany.
Yeah,
right?
Real big over in the Europe world.
The diesel market has gone straight down the toilet in the past, this year.
So just in time for General Motors to reintroduce it to the United States.
That's exactly
Thank you very much. One of the stories I skipped in this week in automotive news was the end of the production of the Oldsmobile diesel.
Oh, I had one of those
in 1986.
Help us all.
Well, General Motors' Mary Barra has also announced that GM's going to offer 30 different all-electric vehicles by the end of 2025. And with that, 4 out of every 10 vehicles offered by General Motors is going to be pure electric. Now they're going to also put them in the Houston, Texas press fleet just to build on Don's range anxiety.
Great. Lawyers for former Reynolds & Reynolds CEO Bob Brockman want a judge to move the federal tax evasion and wire fraud case against him here to Texas, citing Brockman's declining health as a factor. He's 79, lives in Houston, and prosecutors allege he created an elaborate offshore scheme over 2 decades to evade taxes on $2 billion on income from Reynolds & Reynolds, which is a company that pretty much handles dealership software. So
Correct.
That's the motive tie there. Okay, we're going to wrap up today's show here on the In Wheel Time program right after a quick break. Stay with us.
Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy a Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, December 19th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Loopy Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all in one place. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a 3-hour friends and family event. The Loopy Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Loopy founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, December 19th, 8 to 11 a.m. at the Loopy's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too, and you're invited to join us. We'll see you there. Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild-to-wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com.
Well, that's it for this episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. Hey, when you're on Facebook, please give us a like, tell your friends about us, and share our junk. You'll get Conrad's unicorn hunting features along with all things automotive all week long. The In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, and on InWheelTime.com. Podcasts available on pretty much every podcast platform known to man, including Pandora, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. Special thanks to all of our guests today. The In Wheel Time Chief Engineer is the fabulous David Ainsley. Our video sales and marketing man is Jeffrey Zekin. This week's In Wheel Time Car Show is produced and directed by Sonny Look. For booking agent and podcast man Mike out of this world Mars, his royalty, King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong saying so long for now. We hope that you'll join us on our next live show next Saturday, 9:30 a.m. to noon Central Time right here on the Smoke and Mirrors Network. Thanks for being part of the In Wheel Time family. Mask up and stay healthy. Good night.